truck and turn it up, it's time for the show. JB and JC and Mad Dog Mully, it's a power three for these amigos. A lunchtime meet and treat, a power trio. With guests and fans that really rock, it's time to talk 3 hours about those damn Gamecocks. So grab a sandwich, soup, or beer, and let's go. It's time for the show. Oh no, it's time for a TG, the Gamecock Show.
Gentlemen, the show is about to start in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
He'll be fine on the mountain.
It's time for Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Built by the Barndominium Company, presented by Resto Pros of the Midlands, and part of the Chief Sports Network.
Touchdown Carolina! Touchdown Ace Sanders! Pressure! And he just dives in!
Here's J.C. Sherbert, Phil Mullinax, and Jamie Bradford.
Well, I have a microphone, and you don't.
So you will listen to every damn word I have to
Up atop again. Freak. Freak out, yo!
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back, she said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and dance. Don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back, she said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, ooh, shut up and dance with me.
Yeah, it's Friday, and it is time to dance. No doubt about that. It is 11:05 as the crow sounds. Welcome aboard. Greetings and good morning inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barn Co. and brought to you by our friends at Resto Pros. There when you need them. Resto Pros of the Midlands. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. The Barn Dominium Company builds dream homes all over the Carolinas. Give yourself the greatest gift of all this holiday season, a beautiful home. And if you've seen these barndos, they're like magazine style, right? They're not really barns, but that's just the nickname for them. So you open the magazine, you see the big wreath above the big fireplace. You're like, oh man, how do you get into one of those things? Well, you head to the barndoco.com. Build your dream home this holiday season with the Barn Co. JC, Mad Dog, myself, JB, but not for long. It is a busy Friday here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Like really super busy. We're going to be so busy, you don't want to go anywhere until 2 o'clock. Coming up at 11:25, we'll speak with Darren Uscher, the Director of Player Personnel for Carolina football. Gamecocks inked a top 20 class. It's portal season, and so we'll talk to him about all that stuff. And Darren and I have been going back and forth for a couple of days there, and they're in a good spot in that building over there. They like where they are, and he'll tell you more about that. Coming up at noon, Coach Lake will be here. Stuart Lake, of course, works for Coach Tanner, and soon he'll be working for new AD Jeremiah Donati. We'll get to that in just a moment. Officially hired now by the University of South Carolina. So we'll talk to Coach about Coach Tanner's time and about Jeremiah Donati. He did have a chance to meet with him yesterday, and we'll see what that conversation was like as well. Matt Anderson will jump in a little while and help us mosey on until the end of the program and in the end of the work week. Raphael will give us our odds for the championship games this weekend. And then John Strickland and Michael Flint. Michael will be here about half of the hour. He'll be here from 1 to about 1:30. Strick will be here for the entire final hour. So Strickland, Flint, Lake, Usher, not that Usher, our Usher here, Darren Usher, JC, Mad Dog, myself, and Matt Anderson. Should be a super fun Friday. Call your friends and tell them to tune in. They're going to learn a lot about the University of South Carolina over the next 3 hours. It is also album release day for our dear friend, Mr. Patrick Davis. Tonight, him and Darius Rucker will take the stage in Columbia in an NIL-related event that will heavily benefit the University of South Carolina. His album is out today. It came out last night at midnight. If you haven't, please download it. Wherever you download your music, you can download Carolina When I Die. We'll give you some cuts from that throughout the day as well, and maybe some songs that you haven't heard yet, but you'll really like. So congratulations to Patrick. He'll be with us next week at some point in time. He's got a busy day ahead, but he'll be out hanging out with Coach Beamer tonight and Darius Rucker in Columbia as they're set to play that NIL benefit. And remember, right down the street, 1,000 Horses is playing at the Senate. So tonight, if you don't have anything to do, you can go watch Darius and PD, and then go, when that's over, you go right down the road, and 1,000 Horses probably won't come on until about 10 o'clock. So you can do a full night of music in the capital city. With all that said, good morning, boys. And Jeremiah Donati, if you're watching, welcome to the great state of South Carolina and to the University of South Carolina.
Absolutely. Nice press conference yesterday. Really, just from where I sit, I think that we talked about Coach Tanner yesterday, and kind of like just like you coach baseball. There's ups and downs. You got to deal with it, but you go out in glory. Same thing happened as AD. And I think all these athletic directors Carolina's had, from McGee to Hyman to Tanner, they've all served their purpose. And Ray got this place positioned. Ray always says that, in position. Well, Carolina's in position now. I think the guy they hired, Donati, just reading up on him, listening to him yesterday, that's the guy that's going to take it the next step, and he gets it, in my opinion. And again, just listening to him, there's not a lot of body of work here, but everybody I've talked to about him says he's real creative, visionary. He's the type of guy that I always thought needed to replace Ray Tanner. You can't just, recycle people that don't get it, that have a name, or worry about how their football coach coached the year before, or if they won. I mean, winning obviously is important, but these things are a crapshoot. But I'm very encouraged so far. As far as the type of hire that was made, it's different. South Carolina, if you notice, I think, and look, there's always going to be exceptions. The baseball hire this past year, hiring Maneri, that's an old school Carolina type hire, right? Get the legend, but that's not sustainable, because there's not always going to be legends out there willing to take your job, or that are even, young enough to do it, because it takes a while to become a legend, right? So I think
not for me, but I hear you.
Yeah. But I think that when you look around at Carolina now, it's been a little transformational, because, you have Shane Beamer doing what he's doing, 50 games in, he's won more games than any coach in the history of the program. And just had a really good year where they were one of the best teams in the SEC. Ergo, one of the best in the country, no matter what the stupid pollsters say. Lamont Paris surprised me. He won 26 last year, and it's kind of an iffy start. The North Florida game is the one that kind of hangs, but hey, they've won 2 in a row against ACC teams. I don't know if that means anything anymore in basketball. I mean, really. But hey, by double digits, and they're playing better defense. I mean, they're right the ship. I think this is going to be a good year in hoops.
Yeah.
Women's hoops goes without saying. There's young up-and-comer running the softball program now that's a proven winner and an alum. The women's sports are good. Women's soccer did well. Volleyball made the NCAA tournament. I mean, that program Ray had to make a change there. But there's a common thread with a lot of these folks, and Maneri's kind of the exception, but he fits. Where these are like new, fresh faces, younger-ish people that are building their careers at South Carolina. And I think when you can have success doing that, it's better than having success with somebody that maybe was always going to be known as the coach somewhere else. I don't know that Steve Spurrier is always going to be just known for Florida. I think he's a Gator and people are associated, but he did enough at South. It was here long enough to do it. Lou Holtz will always be the Notre Dame coach. Eddie Fogler, you can go back. But I think that I think the fact that you have some young up-and-comers that are having success here, and just all the newness that you feel on campus, Jeremiah Donati is a great fit for that bunch. Because you have people on campus now that are willing to try new things, and, everything from the creative team on down. I couldn't be more impressed with what's going on now. And I think that they, with the caveat that all these things are a crapshoot, I think right now that they picked the right one, just based on what he said and kind of what he's all about.
Yeah, look, I tweeted this yesterday, and I'll reiterate what I said. And JC, you and I talked on the phone this morning. In addition to what I'm going to say, I got a couple of little thoughts, I guess, to throw along. One, he was asked why South Carolina, why Carolina, why USC. me remind everybody about all these things. The term Carolina was thrown up yesterday. USC, yeah, that's us. All right, around here, that's us. And he gave out a bunch of reasons. The people was the first one. He mentioned Dr. Emeritus. He mentioned Coach Tanner. He did mention the board, and he mentioned the fans. He mentioned the city. He mentioned the success. Guaranteed you yesterday, Mad Dog, that he would mention the projects that are already in place, and he absolutely did. He said that was very intriguing to him. So hat tip, Ray Tanner and Chance Miller and that whole group that put all that together. What he didn't mention when they asked why South Carolina was the SEC, which I thought was very telling because he wasn't just looking to get into the SEC. Oh, if an AD job comes open in the SEC, that's where I'm going. I want to be in the league. Now, he likes South Carolina. And a lot of people, and Jason, you've been doing this a long time, they want to be in the SEC because it's the SEC. They don't really care where they land. Just get me into the league. Because once you're in generally. And that did not come out of his mouth at all yesterday. He was very humbled by the fact that the University of South Carolina seemed like the perfect place to be, regardless of what league they're in. Now, I'm quite sure that being in the SEC does have something to do with it, because if they weren't, they wouldn't be in the position that they are.
Yeah.
But that wasn't at the forefront of his response. He never even mentioned those three letters, which I thought was very, very telling. The other thing, though, that also stood out was he had no qualms, no hesitation at all about mentioning the fact that we're just not done with the evolution of the student athlete at the collegiate level. And he mentioned the fact that they could be employees, and maybe they won't be employees, but they could be. And he's been in the shoes of representing student athletes. He's been in the shoes of representing the university. He sees it. He's seen it from all sides. He's very smart. He's young enough to be able to relate. He mentioned social media and all those things yesterday. A lot of ADs and administrators, I don't want to say are scared, but they're apprehensive about using those terms, right, guys? So what about this? What about that? Well, we need to absorb the reality that in a few years, not only are these guys going to be getting paid, they could be employees. And so what that tells me is one of his initiatives is to make sure that the University of South Carolina is set up to handle that when it happens. And maybe it never happens, but it sure as hell doesn't hurt to be prepared for it. So, I thought that was very, very exciting, I guess I would say, for the athletics department. Very telling about where he is mentally and the fact that he's trying to stay a step or two ahead of the future of college athletics. So once it gets there, Carolina's in the driver's seat as to how they want to be able to do things. And he also mentioned, social media, guys like us, we're obviously pretty well tied in with the University of South Carolina. Our platform's as big as any out there when it comes to covering the Gamecocks. I think most people know that by now. He's excited to be able to utilize those things. We will have him on our program, and we'll talk to him about those stuff. A lot of people don't have time for that. They don't want to absorb those things. In addition to Coach Tanner, who always made time, this guy obviously happily makes time. Those things are very, very important in the world that we're living in today. I can't wait to talk to Coach Lake, because he had a private conversation with him yesterday. I think South Carolina really hit the ball out of the yard with this thing. Congratulations to Dr. Emeritus and the University of South Carolina's athletics department and the board of trustees. It looks like Carolina's going to be in good hands.
Yeah, felt good about it. We'll see. I'm not making any. I agree with everything you said. Not going to make any bold proclamations.
Oh, I am.
I don't know enough. I'm struggling with what makes a good athletic director for a while. I know what I like and what I don't like. I'm real into winning and doing what it takes to win. And I think Tanner and I were like-minded with that. But the previous guy was not. But I don't think I'm going to have any problems with this one. I think this one's very innovative, and I've heard extremely competitive Extremely competitive, and
Yep.
that's I think that's what's missing with a lot of terrible ADs.
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised if this guy doesn't turn out really well.
Well, Ray Tanner and this school have done an excellent job over the years of hiring people who want to be at South Carolina. They believe in the logo, they believe in the brand, they believe in the people, they believe in the state. There was a lot of humility and a lot of humbleness from Jeremiah Donati yesterday. You could tell he was a little shaken that he was saying, "I am the new athletics director here in Columbia, South Carolina." That was neat. So congratulations to him, and we certainly look forward to getting him on our program. I know somebody else that was very humbled by the opportunity and invitation to come back to a place that he loves. That's Darren Uscher. He is the director of player personnel for Carolina football. He's going to join us on the other side of the break, but first, a quick glimpse of one of the cuts. It's on the brand new album out today by our buddy Patrick Davis. Carolina When I Die is available everywhere. Make sure you've downloaded it. You will hear this song tonight. It is on the list if you're going to head to the NIL event with Darius in Columbia. From Carolina When I Die, Patrick Davis. Here is LOVE.
I'm just gonna say it. Love me like your favorite song. Like you love your whiskey strong. Like your daddy loves your mama loves your daddy, and a granny loves a Sunday morning. Love me like a honeybee loves the summertime in Tennessee. Like a farmer loves the rain and muddy waters loves the blue. L-O-V-E love, let it do what it do, yeah.
We got started in 1979. Because we're a manufacturer, we're able to control our costs. That's why we like to manufacture as much of the product as we can, because in our factory stores we can offer a competitive edge over other people around the country. When people come into one of our Palm Casuals, it's like they're buying their car at Detroit. They're going right to the factory and buying their car.
30-day money-back guarantee. That's a big deal with us. I mean, we give 30 days to do anything. I mean, return it, change it, get a different color, get your money back.
When you pull into a store and it says Palm Casual, you know you're at a factory store.
Charleston Fitness Equipment is keeping South Carolina in shape. Clients have come from all over the Palmetto State to find that one piece of equipment that they enjoy that keeps them looking and feeling good. Whether it's a home rower, treadmill, elliptical, free weights, a home gym, or something else, Charleston Fitness Equipment keeps the mirror smiling back at you. Get in shape like the Gamecocks do. Visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com. Gamecock owned and operated and proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
What Right to Bear is we're an association of members across the entire country, and what we offer is we offer legal defense in the event of a self-defense case.
Nice.
So it's not insurance. So we offer an attorney in the event that one of our members might have some type of an accident. ProtectWithBear.com. We've got all of our social media accounts on the bottom of our website. We've got blogs, articles, detailed description of all of the coverages in depth, and we'd love to have you come check us out and ultimately get the protection you need.
Hi, I'm Joel Lurie. If you're turning 65 this year or retiring soon, you probably have questions about Medicare. How do I enroll in Medicare? When do I need to enroll? And what plan fits my needs and budget?
Why use an out-of-state call center when you can work with a local agency?
At Lurie Life and Health, we'll research your doctors and prescription drugs, and we'll help you find the plan that meets your needs and budget.
Lurie Life and Health. Our service is at no cost. Call Lurie Life and Health in Columbia, 803-256-2067.
Let's leave it worry towards the end zone. Are you kidding me? Jump over a man to 10. 5, touchdown Carolina. They can't get him at the 15. 10-5, touchdown Carolina.
It is 11:22, and it is Friday. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barn Co. and brought to you by our friends at the South Carolina Education Lottery, where apparently everybody in this state is winning but me. I keep buying tickets, and $10 is the best I've been able to do. So, JC, just kind of a heads up. If I win the $1 million thing, you will not see me moving forward. I will be gone forever from this platform. But hopefully Darren Uscher sticks around. He's doing a hell of a job at the University of South Carolina. Gamecocks 9-3 this season, and it is now portal season and signing day season and all the other hashtag crazy things. But glad to have you, man. It is so great to see you. I don't know of a team in the country that went through a more wild ride than Carolina football, with the big wins and the heartbreaking losses and the ups and the downs. But my, oh my, how things can change quickly from day one to the final day of the season. Congratulations. What a hell of a year.
Yeah, appreciate it. What's going on, fellas? It's good to talk to y'all again. And it's funny. When you asked me to come on, I was thinking about the last time we talked. And I think it was like during one of our first fall camp practices when I had just got the job a couple weeks prior. So to think where we've come since then has been pretty special and pretty cool. And I've been a part of some really cool teams and programs in the past, cool games and cool seasons. But honestly, this has probably been the most fulfilling and the most fun, just of how we've won and in the ways in which we've won. And I think all of that has helped us carry over into what you all saw happen on Wednesday, what we're still doing and what we need to do in the portal. All of those things matter, and we're an extremely attractive destination for a lot of potential portal kids right now, as well as some high schoolers that are still out there.
And there's high school semifinal games going on tonight. We'll give everybody the list on that here in just a little while. Phil, by the way, everybody, Phil's here. He's just he is producing in the background. Matt Anderson joins from the late night show. So we're going to get into the portal stuff here in just a little bit with you, and we're certainly going to get into the kids that have signed and talk about future classes and all that stuff. But Darren, Shane's one of the best people on the planet, and he obviously we're all aware of all the stuff that's going on. 29 wins is the most ever in the first 4 years, and things of that nature. So tell me about your experience, since we haven't had you on the air publicly in a few months. Tell me about your experience working underneath him in your first season at South Carolina, and how that you believe is kind of translates everywhere else to the recruiting and coaching staff, et cetera, et cetera. What did you learn these last few months?
It's been phenomenal. And I've had the pleasure of working for some really good, coaches and leaders. And he is, up there with all the great ones. Part of the reason is the care factor. I think he cares about you as a person first, before, someone that works, you work for him. It doesn't ever feel like that. He's in the trenches with you. He's willing to do whatever we're willing to do. And that permeates on down to the staff and then with the team. And then I think our recruits, and they feel that when they get on the phone with them or they get on our FaceTime calls with them, that care factor, and he's willing to grind and do all the things necessary to recruit at a high level in the SEC. And it's a 247, 365 job. Because if you're not talking to them, somebody else is, right? And even if they're committed to us, the hay's never in the barn until they sign on that dotted line that they did on Wednesday. And I can't say enough good things about him. I think in this business and in the landscape of college football that we're in, we need more people like Shane Beamer that actually care about people and that truly, truly care about the place that they're at, never want to leave the place that they're at, care about the fan base, right? Care about the fan experience, care about the players, care about their families, care about us as people, care about our families. I mean, our coaches' kids are running around this facility all the time. That just kind of shows you the level of care that he has in the family environment that he's created. And I think I even talked about this the first time I was on, was culture, right? And it's one of the reasons that drove me to this place was, I did my research too, and I didn't want to come back to my alma mater and have it not be the experience that, I had when I was a student here. And the places that I've been, the reasons we were successful at Oregon and Boise State was because of culture. And this culture is just as strong, if not stronger, than any place I've ever been. And I think you're seeing those results carry out over onto the field. And to me, that's why we're having success on the field and then ultimately in recruiting.
Hey, Darren, I got a quick question for you. You kind of mentioned it, the hay is never in the barn until it's signed, sealed, and delivered. If you can, and if you can't, that's okay. Kind of pull back the curtain a bit and tell us what it's like, Monday night, Tuesday night before National Signing Day. So, these guys have great relationships, right? And you've been working these relationships for so long, but what is that? Is it a war room? What's it like? Is it an NFL draft type situation?
Every place, that's a great question. Every place does it differently that I've been at. Literally every place has been doing it differently, and there's no one, way to do it, right? But I will say this, and I've used this term for years, and Brian Harsin and I came up with this term a long time ago. The night before signing day, shenanigans happen, right? That's the politically correct term. Let's just say I did not go to bed until 3 a.m. because I was on the phone with a certain prospect that we signed. I won't name by name until from 1 a.m. to about 2 a.m. Because if I'm on the phone with him, that means somebody else isn't. Right. And he was,
Wow.
not getting squirrely is not the right term. Just there are people in his ear. Right. And in this era in which we live in NIL, it's a factor. Right. And there's a lot of lip service that goes on, a lot of false promises being slung out there. And that can sway people's opinions, especially at the last minute. And there's a lot of pressure. So we didn't necessarily have a war room per se the night before. We kind of let the coaches get some rest. Obviously, it's been a long couple weeks since the Clemson game. And then obviously the very disappointing news on Tuesday night. I think everyone was very mentally drained, but in my eyes, I had to switch my focus pretty quickly. But the coaches are super involved in that as well. Don't let me downplay that at all. And those relationships won out in the end. We did not lose one recruit to any other program that was currently committed to us. So I think when you look at a successful day on signing day, it's if you get none of your guys flipped to other teams, and that speaks to the relationships that our coaches have built, my recruiting staff has built, Jessica Jackson and her staff has built, Clint and Luke Day. Everyone in this building matters, and everyone has a relationship with these kids, and obviously Coach Beamer as well. All those kids held strong because they want to be here and they want to play for Carolina. And so we were able to flip some guys as well. And those speak to relationships as well. We never stop recruiting. I know Coach Beamer has a slightly different philosophy as a head coach, and that's his prerogative, but he lets us continue to recruit them if we want them. And then he'll come in and when we feel like we need to bring him in, and he did a phenomenal job of that. So to answer your question, the nights before get the Monday and Tuesday. Monday was ramping up. There are some shenanigans on Monday. There were lots of shenanigans on Tuesday.
But was there any tomfoolery? That's the question. Shenanigans and tomfoolery.
Yeah, I mean, whatever word you want to say, tomfoolery, shenanigans. It was happening, not just with one prospect, but multiple. We like to say we're fireproof, right? So I put out a lot of fires, and our coaches put out a lot of fires the night before.
I'll tell you this, Darren. Don't let Shane fool you. I knew him when he was an assistant. He'd go the distance. But as a head coach, I mean, your time you can't waste time like that.
No.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Look, man, for early signing this year, I haven't seen this many flips in a long time across the country. It was flip city. I mean, you had Florida flipping everybody under the sun. I think those kids wanted to go to Florida and just wanted stability of the coaching staff. I don't think they did anything great, but to A&M, I mean, the whole country, guys were flipping from one school to another, but it was quiet on that part. You did some flipping of your own, so I think that's good. Here's my question. You put together, so this roster this year at Carolina was really good. Championship level. I mean, a break here and a break here, there. We're not talking to you because you're going to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And then hoping to beat Texas. I mean, you could compete with anybody in the country. So here's how they did it. and you guys did it. You guys put it together. It wasn't that they went out like Florida State and got everybody that was a 4-star and 5-star that Florida State or that Alabama and Georgia didn't want, right? It wasn't like they got all these guys with these big reps like Ole Miss. That kind of thing, you speak to culture, and I think the culture did make this team fireproof, because if this had been a different makeup of this roster, once 3-3 happens and you lose to Alabama, I think you got some guys that are cashing checks and chilling.
Mhm.
So my question is this, because I've seen this happen before. How important now when you move forward, as you have more attention, is it going to be for you and your staff and Coach Beamer to kind of continue that digging in on the kid culturally, personally, to making sure he's a fit? And I'm sure you'll do it, but I need the fans to hear that, because, I think sometimes, because we're in this new portal period, and these guys are rabid. They've followed recruiting for forever. They're thinking 4-star, 5-star offers from all over. Oh, he went to Southern Cal, whatever. In the portal era, that's not the best. I mean, you don't get a Demetrius Knight, if you go follow that. So to hear it from you, you don't anticipate anything changing with the plan and philosophy, right? When it comes to that.
Absolutely not. I think they've done a phenomenal job previously to me getting here, and that matches up with my philosophy. And that's what I told Coach on my interview, is that culture matters, character matters, fit matters, all those things. And I don't really give, a hoot what you were rated coming out of high school, because that all goes away the moment you walk in the door. And to re-rate someone coming out of college, I think, is a little bit silly. We pop the tape on, watch the tape, then get on the phone with them, then bring them on a visit. And if we don't like them, we let them go.
I'll take it. Yeah.
And so, to me, finding a fit at a place like this and with the staff that we have is of the utmost importance. And I don't care if they're a big name and they did really well. I'm going to be honest with you, there's already a couple guys that are big names that we've turned down. And the good thing about being 9-3 is that people are calling us, all right, as opposed to what I wasn't obviously here last year, but speaking with a lot of people last year, it was a struggle at times to get guys on the phone. Now it's the opposite. So you have to be actually extra careful, because you are having some attractive options reach out, and you really have to do your digging, and call their previous school, call their high school coach, call people that call my counterparts, GMs around the country, and ask about them. And we've already been doing that.
Sweet.
For a long time. And so I think the more that you can do that, the better that you're going to be. And, just because they wore a big name brand logo on the front of their jersey or on their helmet does not mean that they're going to be a great fit here. So we're going to be very selective, and we can be, because we're 9-3 and hoping to win a 10th game and hope to end this season top 10. And we're going to have a Heisman Trophy candidate going into next year. And if it's up to me, he should be getting some Heisman votes right now.
You're gonna enter the top 10 if you win, Darren. They're gonna rank you 20th if you win a game in the bowl game. This is
that's for Coach Beamer to do the politicking there, but
that's right. What the hell is going on out here?
I always say on the high school ranking thing, when you get into college, it's like they don't make the guy that's voted most likely to succeed from his high school class a doctor.
That's
you
right.
have to go earn it. Life starts over. So I just have one more question, and I know Jamie's got some questions about retention and stuff. So the in-state crop this year, there's 11. Hopefully there's 1 more, maybe. I don't know. You tell me. Don't tell me. But it's almost half the class. Talent in this state, and you saw it. I think it came out a lot in the Clemson game, but because those guys, they just don't do a lot of recruiting here.
Yeah.
And that's fine. It works for them. There's nothing against them. But you see all these guys, the defense was not a portal haul. There were some, like a Kyle Kennard helped, D Knight helped, but a lot of those were guys that came here and developed, many from within the state of South Carolina. What can you say about this crop of in-state guys and the talent in the state moving forward as our state becomes, it's about to double in size population-wise? I read an article, 50% of the people that live in South Carolina were not born here. I've seen the population, the population exploded in Florida in the 70s. that's equal to talent, especially in the South. So what can you say about the gold mine, in my opinion, you're sitting on with the great players in the state of South Carolina, great prospects in South Carolina?
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. It's a great question. Again, the first time I was on the show, I think I mentioned one of the first things Coach Beamer asked me, if I were to get this job, what would be my number one priority? It was keep the best players in the state of South Carolina at Carolina. And that was my mission and my goal, because when I left here in 2011, those 2010 teams are what I remember as a student, right? With Clowney, Gilmore, Lattimore, Chris Culliver, all those guys, and the success that we had. So that was the goal coming in here. And I think we did about a best job as we could have done in doing that. And we need to do that moving forward. The best players in the state of South Carolina will stay in South Carolina, and they will play this for this university. And I think you talk about being fireproof. Those guys were the guys that were fireproof in that Clemson game. They will play just a little bit harder because they understand what that rivalry means, and they understand what it's like to wear that Carolina on their chest and that Block C on their helmet. And the more guys that we can get that understand that, the better. And I think the other priority was in this 26 class. This is one of the better classes in the state of South Carolina that I've seen since I've been involved in recruiting, and probably since the Gilmore days. And so that's been a massive focus for us. And I think you're seeing those results already start to come to fruition a little bit. And we're just getting started. And that's not to say that we're not going to branch out, but we're going to start home and work our way out. And so North Carolina is a huge priority for us moving forward as well. I have a board that's just South Carolina, North Carolina prospects, and those are guys that we have to get. And so that's going to be an incredible focus for us moving forward. And those are guys that are going to define this program. That's what this program is all about. I think guys from South Carolina, they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder because they are under recruited and they're maybe not in the spotlight as much. And those are the guys we want, man. We want those guys. And that's why I think our culture is going to remain strong and only get stronger from here. And the South Carolina Gamecocks are going to be a problem for years to come because of the guys that we're going to keep here in the state. And I can't be remiss without saying, I know there's a lot of guys playing in semifinal games and state championships. And I wish those guys the best of luck. And we're state champions ourselves, so I know what that feels like. All right. And so I know those guys want to stay home and play for the state champion South Carolina Gamecocks.
Yeah, I heard some folks' feathers were ruffled in the upstate after E-Man Warrior and DQ Smith ran down the hill after the game the other day. I pointed out Clemson didn't even look at either one of those guys, and they've now beat them on their home field twice, so get over it. Nick E-Man Warrior is going to go to the NFL, and he's going to take running down the hill with him. Let me ask you about this. It's obviously a different era. You recruit all these guys, Darren, but the sad reality of it is you recruit them basically for 1 year, and then you got to recruit them again. They might be a little bit easier. I don't know. You'll tell us here in a second because they've got your uniform on. But player retention is a problem in college athletics now and across all sports. How does South Carolina approach and address that?
Yeah, I think it starts with your culture, right? If you have a great culture, those guys aren't going to want to leave. Whether you're 5-7 or you're 9-3, right? And credit to Coach Beamer and the staff before I even got hired here after a 5-7 season that was not up to the standard or of anyone's expectations. Keeping a lot of those guys here and those guys staying and wanting to prove that they're not 5-7, that they are 10-3, right? Hopefully 10-3, right? So that was a great job. We need to do the same. Because we got a lot of guys that are getting a lot of attention from other programs around the country, as they should. All right, because they're really good players. So those conversations started during the first bye week. Okay, continued during the second bye week, and that's been one of my main focuses. I look at this roster building in 3 phases. It's high school recruiting, it's retention, and it's the portal. And all 3 parts are equally as important as the other, but you really want to focus on keeping your current roster how it is, because our roster is really dang good. and we need to supplement it with the portal and with high school recruiting. And I think we're going to we've done a great job of that with high school, and now we're going to do a really good job of that in the portal. But it's a lot, right? And a lot of these guys, as you have success, a lot of them have agents now. There's very few that don't. It's on the phone with agents and constantly every day usually, and just trying to figure out guys' value and to get them to stay. And I think that's the other piece of this, right? Value is high here because we are in a very, very, very good spot in terms of our resources here at Carolina because of NIL and the support that we get from the Garnet Trust. And I would be remiss without saying that Jeremy Smith does a phenomenal job. And I pretty much talk to him more than I talk to anybody else in this building besides Coach Beamer. Me and him are in cahoots, and we work together on everything. And he's just as passionate as I am about this place. And, we're in a really good spot. I think we obviously don't want anyone to leave this place. But if they do, we want to help them out or maybe it's over, they want to be a starter and they want to play somewhere, and we'll help you. So I don't think anyone's really left because they necessarily were disgruntled or had any bad feelings. Everyone that has left on great terms, and they're great kids, and we're currently helping them out. And I always tell them I'm willing to help them out and call any school they want me to if they end up leaving here to better their situation. So what we've done a really good job is prioritize that earlier on and make guys feel wanted and as they should. But ultimately, I think it goes back to culture and wanting to be here because we're building something special and we're just getting started.
It's interesting. I remember having a conversation a few years ago after Coach first got to South Carolina, and it felt like as soon as the season ended, Darren, and obviously you weren't here then, it felt like at that point in time, they were kind of trying to – this was all so new, right? And so they were trying to figure out, all right, the final game of the regular season was just played. What do we prioritize? And I remember there was a lot of coaches off on the road, going to see guys, whatever. And then there's a lot of kids who were in that locker room going, I haven't even had a conversation, and they're out recruiting other guys. I don't know what to do. And so I find it so fascinating now that how the staff, all these staffs, you can tell the ones generally that don't have it right. The ones that do have it right, how they figure out all of their time, like y'all do. You divide that up, you divide and conquer, you do what you need to do, you get all these things organized. And then it comes back to what we talked about earlier, the portal. Which is just the wild, wild west of everything imaginable. You mentioned this year, y'all are getting banged on. Hey, man, y'all got any spots? So what – I don't know if you can talk about this. Maybe you can. What is a priority in the portal right now for South Carolina, and how flexible do you need to be if that changes because of other decisions that could be made based on – your current personnel?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the one thing too, I don't think it's getting talked about enough in the recruiting calendar right now is this is the first year ever we haven't done in-home visits. So to JC's point, that's probably why you're seeing more flips, in my opinion. You're not having head coaches in living rooms sitting down and eating with mom and dad or whoever their champion or caretaker is, right? So those relationships may not be as strong when there's not the closer mentality that a lot of people have had. It's all via FaceTime and phone now, right? So that has also changed, though. It's to your point, JB, has allowed us to spend more time with our guys, and that is why they changed that recruiting calendar. It wasn't so we weren't be able to go on the road and be in recruits' homes. It's so we can spend more time with our players, and that has benefited us, obviously, because our players like to be around here. All of them are usually here. I mean, I see Nick Eman-Wari here till 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and D-Night and all those guys. They just want to be watching film.
Wow.
Watching film. And
what kind of, like the Lion King or the Santa Claus?
No. He's usually watching practice from that day in the defensive staff room. Then they'll come chop it up with one of us in the D staff or O staff room, and It's the most loose and fun environment I've ever been able to work in, but also when it's time to grind and focus, we all lock in. And I think that's why you're seeing that group sort of play out like that on the field. But to answer your question, it's fine. It is finding a true balance of that. And I think you can kind of infer our needs based on what we signed in the portal, or I'm sorry, in high school, from what we need to go out. And then if you kind of take a look at what we're losing, right, from a senior class standpoint, and then obviously with some pending decisions from some really good players that have a chance to, go to the NFL and be potentially high draft picks. Those are all positions that we need to replace. But I will be upfront and tell you that you all three know this. In this league, it starts up front, right? Starts up front, starts and ends up front, both sides of the ball. So I can promise you that we are being super aggressive on both of those fronts, and we will not stop. And probably I will not sleep until we have the pieces in place to replace some really, really good players that have been at this program for a long time and have busted their tails and have, freaking bled out there on that field. And you got a guy in Tonka Hemingway that, freaking casts his hand up and wants to go back in the game. And just the grit that those guys showed should be the example of what every kid that we bring into this program should be like, or Torricelli Simpkins that came from, a smaller level school, but has turned into one of the better players that this program has seen. We have the blueprint, right? And then Demetrius Knight is probably the best human being I've ever been around in the sport of football. So we've got the blueprint, and that's why we're trying to get kids here ASAP for our bowl practices, to be able to have them be around our guys in terms of portal guys. And it ain't about the glitz and the glam. If they need to go take photos in the locker room and go out to a steak dinner, they ain't the right type of guy for us. It's more like a business decision. It's more like a free agent trip in the NFL, where they bring guys in for a day. They talk ball with you. We'll get them on the board. I want to see how football smart they are as well, and our coaches. And if they're not, and it's not a good fit, then we'll move on.
Hey, Darren, a quick question for you. Go ahead, JC.
Oh, no, I was going to say on the note with the line of scrimmage, there were really two. It's hard offensive-wise linemen in the portal based so far. This thing changes every year. Really, two schools that were successful. SMU got, I think, 4 or 5, and they actually could block. Didn't work out too well at Oklahoma. No. Here, though, it didn't get talked about a lot, maybe because they didn't. You guys had 2 starters in Bell and Simpkins. So that worked out. So the question, the whole year. So the question is, number one, do you agree that it's hard on offense to find good linemen? And number 2 is it a better philosophy, outside of the generic, we gotta just get the best we can? Is, in your opinion, just big picture, is it a better philosophy to get high school guys up front on offense and develop them rather than having to rely on the portal, since there's just not a lot of success, your own success notwithstanding?
Great question. I think it needs to be 50-50. So you saw us go out and sign 2 high school guys. The goal was in that 2 to 3 range. It wasn't to sign our whole class on the front. We need to develop young guys and then supplement with the portal on the O-line. It's very hard to find 4 or 5 starting offensive linemen and bring them all in and learn a new scheme. I mean, I think that's the thing that a lot of people on the outside don't necessarily understand. Just because they were good at, a previous school doesn't mean they're even running the same schemes, or their whole offensive philosophy could be different. And they were really good running that philosophy, but when they come in here, maybe a struggle for them to learn that, and maybe they're not as good at it. So, to your point, I know Coach Beamer and Dowell and Coach Elliott and Coach Teasley, they do a phenomenal job with the run game. What we want to do, and from a pass pro standpoint, we want to find guys that are young and can develop, and we can groom them. And then I get them down there with Coach Day. We get them down there with Coach Day, who I think is not talked about enough in our success this year. We've been absolutely out physicaling teams to the point where we've broken a lot of teams this year. And that, to me, all starts in the weight room. So that gives me confidence when in recruiting and our rest of our staff. I can bring a kid in like a Demola who has like crazy length and measurables, but maybe needs to put on weight. And I have absolutely zero issues that he's going to get right from a strength standpoint. And then Yimi Rodriguez in our nutrition center has just changed our entire team. Is one of the unsung heroes, I think, of this entire program that never gets talked about and many people won't know, but is so dedicated to his craft and getting our guys personalized weight gain or weight loss or maintain programs. All that stuff is so important and allows us to go maybe get some not necessarily underdeveloped guys, but if they have the measurables and the traits, right, and really good feet and the length, like, well, let's bring those guys in here and they're going to get their bodies right. And so that gives them 2 years where they're not forced to play immediately, right? They can learn from a portal guy at tackle. Demola can learn from a Josiah, and he can learn from a Kaysen. And then when those guys head to the NFL, he steps right in and we never left. And then we might not need to go in the portal, right? And then we just keep developing. And that's the goal ultimately, is to just keep developing and then supplement here and there with the portal. I think if you rely on the portal up front, especially on the line of scrimmage, on the O-line, you're going to be in some trouble.
So, Darren, my question to you, and this is another pulling back the curtain, there's going to be thousands of kids that enter the transfer portal. And if you really wanted to spend your days just watching the portal, I mean, your phone would be buzzing every 15 seconds. So what is the process that you and your staff have for when kids enter the portal and, you make a board? I don't know if you have a dry erase board, an Excel spreadsheet, whatever it is, but how do you zero in on, okay, these are the guys we're going to focus on in the limited amount of time that we have to focus on them to get them on campus as soon as possible, to get them for that business decision, all of that. How does that work?
Yeah, great question. I don't want to get into super specifics. I don't want to.
Don't give away state secrets, man. Just keep doing whatever you're doing.
Take a little bit of the secret sauce in a way, because every place I've been has done it differently, right? And there's no one best way to do it, but you do see how some staffs operate and why some have been successful and some haven't. I will tell you this though. I have a guy in our personnel room for every single position, and they are basically the CEOs and the head coaches of their positions. And I do want to give those guys a shout out too with just the high school. We wouldn't have signed these guys without their relationships. Sam Survey at the O-line, Brandon Middleton at the D-line, Zach Prop, running back, Trevor Tweehouse, tight end, Kwame Agia-Minta, DB, Todd Haney is the quarterbacks, Sterling Harris, the edges, Drew Lindler, linebackers, and then Jessica Jackson and her crew. And then we've got Zach Gordon, who is just the portal. All right. So his focus on the portal, but everyone does the portal as well. Basically each of them have their own position board. We are watching guys. I would say if you are, without getting too detailed, Matt, if you are starting to watch portal guys as they enter, you are too late. If you get what I mean, you can do a lot of things during the season. PFF is a great tool. It is by no means the above all end all. All right. We do not recruit just based off PFF rankings, but what it does show is, hey, this week, this player was the highest graded offensive guard. Let's watch him. Let's eval him. And in the event that he enters the portal, we've already got a grade on him. We've already watched him. Myself's watched them. Coach Teasley's watched them. The offensive staff has watched them. So when he does go in the portal, we don't need to wait to make a decision. We get in contact with him in the right way, legally, of course, and we get him here on campus and we go from there. That's kind of the short version, and everyone has their position. And I will tell you what, I didn't hire any of these guys, right? So I came into a brand new staff. I haven't hired got to hire one person yet. Unique situation coming in July. But these dudes and gals have absolutely knocked it out of the park. And they've bought into my vision, and they do a phenomenal job. And we would not be in this position, and this program wouldn't be without them. They're definitely unsung heroes behind the curtain, like you said, in the recruiting department that help make my life a lot easier as well.
Darren, we got about 2 minutes left, so I'm gonna just squeeze in one final specific question about the class. And then you take the floor with anything else you'd like to add before we get you out of here. This is me, just on the outside looking in, certainly the largest, but it's seemingly the most talented wide receiver group I've seen in a long time at South Carolina. And it could get bigger, but I know you can't say much on that right now. Describe them, please, and anything left that we didn't get to that you'd like to make sure that the public knows about Carolina.
Yeah. You see Malik Clark, Jordan Gidron, length and speed. That's what we needed. We thought we were kind of lacking that a little bit this year. Length and speed, that was a priority. And then you see the other guys in Brian Rowe, Lex Cyrus, and I think a lot of people are sleeping on Pup Sellers, Jaden Sellers. It's obviously the Norris's brother. I think he's going to come in here right away and compete for a starting returner position. He's a phenomenal punt returner, phenomenal kick returner. People sleep on him because he's, down there in South Florence, and maybe because he's Lenoris's little brother, but they're not going to be saying that for long. All of those guys, and then have absolutely can fly, and they'll be able to fit right into that prototypical slot position. I don't think there's a guy that we sign that is not going to be able to compete right away for a starting rotational spot. And I think the more guys you get in that room that can compete, it's going to raise the level of everyone else that's returning. So that was a priority for us. And myself and Coach Furry, I think the first kid that I ever talked to was Lex Cyrus. I was at my apartment in Eugene, Oregon still, and we got his commitment. We held off Penn State. We held off Penn State in the long run there as well. To sign a kid like that of his caliber and he has elite level speed, and he's also a guy that will bring return value to us. And I know Coach D. Camillus is super fired up about, because we need a returner that can really change the game, because we have the scheme, and we probably should have had a couple this year. And you guys obviously know that's Shane's baby as well, Beamer Ball. And so all those guys that they were very targeted, and we were very and in a guy like Jordan Gidron, when we found out he could reclassify, we went even harder and got that one done as soon as we could. So we're talking about 3 guys that run sub 10.4. That's rolling, fellas. That's rolling, and that's SEC type speed. That's championship level type speed, and you can't put a price tag on that for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that's moving. That's almost as Anyways, I was about to crack a joke, but I won't do that. Any parting shots?
For the emphasis on speed. It hasn't always been that way around here with wide receivers. So good.
Well, and especially too, I mean, you look at the corners that we face in this league, and the corners now are freaks, right? I mean, they're long. I mean, you look at Judge Collier, that's your prototypical SEC cornerback, in my opinion. So is OD as well. Yeah. But their length and speed, so we have to match that. And if they press, they've got to be able to get off the line of scrimmage, and maybe their speed makes them back up a little bit and play some zone, and that really opens up the offense for us.
I'm really looking forward to talking to Coach Beamer here before long, just so I can ask him how proud of O'Donnell Fortune he is. It has been just phenomenal. I love that kid. He's a great kid. Watching him develop, Darren, and turn into one of the best corners in the country. Country, not the league, one of the best in the country. He's going to go to the NFL. He's going to play for a long time.
Absolutely.
And, he deserves it. The pride of Sumter, South Carolina.
Right.
All right. Any parting shots, brother, before we get you out of here?
No, I mean, I do want to say thank you to the fans. Seriously, those environments that they create in Willie B every Saturday. I honestly, and this isn't just lip service, those mean so much. Kids rave about our game day environment. It is the absolute best in the country. And in those tight games, those kids, they leave on Sunday or Saturday, and they always want to come back. It's one of the reasons we got a lot of these kids. We did. I mean, Mike Tyler was here for almost every game, not because he didn't want to go to LSU. Trust me, they were trying, but he wanted to be here in this environment. And Lex Cyrus, right, goes to a Penn State whiteout twice, but then whatever they want to call it, and then comes here and is just like blown away because he was here, for the A&M game and the Missouri game. And it's just like that's the deciding factor. Everyone matters, all right? Staying till the end of the game, all that stuff matters. And then the way everyone is, from a fan perspective and the sports media, you all, and then everyone on Twitter and social media, kids see that. They really do. Kids and parents see it. They see how positive everyone is, right? As opposed to some other fan bases that can be negative towards their team. That stuff matters. And I have a lot of parents that have said how positive and how enthusiastic our fan base is, and they can't wait for their son to be a part of it. So, thank you to kind of everyone. Obviously mentioned, everybody in this building that does a phenomenal job, but the outside matters too, the tailgating, everyone, the game day scenes. Kids see that, they want to be a part of it. This is the epitome of what SEC football should be, and we're just getting started.
Always a pleasure to have you. Well said. Congratulations. A hell of a year. You got another game to go.
Yes,
Somewhere
sir.
down in Florida, it seems. We'll all be there cheering for you. You're always welcome back, Darren. So call anytime, man. And hope you get some sleep. This is going to be a busy month.
No sleep for the weary, man. I'll sleep when we got our roster finalized, and high expectations, but pressure is a privilege. I'm honored to be here, and I pinch myself every day I walk in this building because I'm doing it at my alma mater, and this is my dream job, man. And it took me about 14 years to get here, but I don't plan on leaving anytime soon. I want to see this place be great for years and years to come.
Yeah, it's got a chance to be. Congratulations on all your success. Give Shane a hand pound for us.
Yes, sir.
We'll
Appreciate y'all, man. Thanks,
man.
guys.
Yes,
Go
sir. There you go.
Gamecocks.
Darren Uscher, Director of Player Personnel. When we return, Stuart Lake teed up. He met with the new AD yesterday. We'll hear what he has to say about that and more on ITG.
Hey, this is Cornbread Cowboy, and you're listening to the show. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Palm Casual Patio Furniture. Because we are the factory, Palm Casual has the ability to offer the highest quality outdoor furniture paired with world-class service. Since 1979, our factory showrooms have done our best to make the buying process as easy as possible for our customers. Our understanding of the many factors that go into your decision has helped us create our 30-day trial period that increases the level of comfort our customers feel during the shopping experience. Visit us in Somerville, Mount Pleasant, Myrtle Beach, and Bluffton, and online at palmcasual.com for our products and out-of-state locations. Merry Christmas!
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
Hi, I'm Joel Lurie. If you're turning 65 this year or retiring soon, you probably have questions about Medicare. How do I enroll in Medicare? When do I need to enroll? And what plan fits my needs and budget?
Why use an out-of-state call center when you can work with a local agency?
At Lurie Life and Health, we'll research your doctors and prescription drugs, and we'll help you find the plan that meets your needs and budget.
Lurie Life and Health. Our service is at no cost. Call Lurie Life and Health in Columbia, 803-256-2067.
Welcome home. That's what the Gamecocks say, and so does nationally recognized the Barndominium Company, where they are building dream homes in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. Their turnkey process can be custom designed and takes 6 months on average. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. Thebarndominiumco.com.
Oh man, the building is on fire.
Emergencies and accidents happen. When you're in the middle of a fire or water event, all you want is for things to return to normal as soon as possible. Resto Pros of the Midlands is with you, guiding you through the process and working with you to get your home or office back in working order. They'll answer your questions, discuss procedures, and can act as your advocate when it comes to processing your insurance claim. Resto Pros Midlands SC.com. Open 24/7 when you need them. Quality that is guaranteed.
The electric grid that had been placed under Lambeau so that the field would never freeze.
Those two things are all the NCAA has. That's all they have. They're not worth anything without the men's basketball tournament and now the women's tournament.
Listen to these interviews and more on the JC and Morgan podcast by downloading the Chief Sports app. Part of the Chief Sports Network.
Merry Christmas from the Barndominium Company, where they are building dream homes in the Carolinas, Georgia, and Tennessee. Their turnkey process can be custom designed and takes 6 months on average. Make your dream a reality. Visit thebarndominiumco.com. Thebarndominiumco.com. Gamecock owned and operated. Merry Christmas and thank you for a great year.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cars while you're at it.
I knew I'd like that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
It is hour 2. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks, the show built by the Barndo Co. and brought to you by our friends at Gamecock Traditions. A reminder today in Lexington at 3 o'clock. We get off the air at 2, so it gives you an hour to get there. At 3 o'clock until 4:30 at the Gamecock Traditions location in Lexington, Lenoris Sellers will be signing autographs. So if you'd like to get over and get something for the holiday season and get an autograph on it, be a pretty good gift. Not a bad gift to have Coach Lake's autograph either. He's a winner in my book, and we're glad to have him. A little bit late. Sorry about that, Coach, but we ran a little long with Darren Uscher. But we sure are glad to see you, man. How you doing? Uh-oh. He's muted. We can't hear you. It might be not connected to – you might be need to connect the audio to the stream from your computer. It's probably what it is. Your lips are moving.
Wow, good interview. Yeah.
There you go.
Good interview with Darren. Good, nice philosophical stuff there. Actually enjoyed that. That's good.
Yeah.
Good thing. Things are so positive right now. I almost feel uncomfortable.
Well, wait till they lose another game. Everybody should be fired then.
By the way, Bruin mentioned in the chat box, Nate Johnson, linebacker DN, 6'5", 240 from App State out of Gaffney, just hit the transfer portal. I have not, obviously, being on the show, had a chance to ask around, but I know he's a player they would have taken in a heartbeat last year. He's had a huge freshman year. Kind of had some injuries this season, but saved the best for last.
Yeah.
I think he had 2 or 3 sacks in his last game. Elite pass rusher, in my opinion. So there's an in-state guy leaving and going somewhere. So keep an eye on him. But yeah,
Can you hear us now, Coach?
He's really good.
Uh-oh. He's still muted. I don't know what
Phil?
that is. Phil's probably working in the background somewhere. Phil, show you.
Maybe back him out and get him to come back in.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if he in the settings, the audio settings, that's got to be what it is.
Yeah, Coach, grab your settings at the bottom here and see if you can see where your audio is.
Yeah.
And make sure your mic is coming through the computer.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
probably just need to change the input.
Well, he's a lot like Monty in the fact that generally when they make their appearances with us, they got to have a ball boy back there somewhere kind of showing them what to do.
I think.
Oh, wait a second.
Hold on. Is there somebody there?
Can you hear us? He can hear us, but we still
can
can't
hear
get
us.
his.
So
So now it's got to be his computer's not connecting to the StreamYard. That's got to be it, Phil. Phil, run down the street, see if you can't fix that real quick.
yeah, hold on. I'll be there in an hour and a half, Coach.
Yeah. Yeah, he said
it is on. Yeah, it's the little gear at the bottom that says settings, and then click audio, and then change the mic to whatever your default mic is, more than likely on the computer. But that is the solution to the problem. Unfortunately, I cannot do it from here, or I would already have.
Yeah, he said they're trying. There's somebody in the room with Coach Lake. I know he's at work. Coach, we're going to talk over you for a second since we can't hear you. But whenever you get it fixed, just there you go. Just chime right in. Yeah, JC, to your point with Darren, a couple of things are really interesting there. If you are seeing people hit the portal, you're too late. You're behind, which I found was very interesting. They keep up these guys all year long, and then what he had to say there at the end too about the wide receiver class. Whoa. Generally you don't hear a lot of staff say things that bold unless they feel that they're safe to do so.
These guys can run. That doesn't mean everything. I mean, I'm always because I've seen so many coaches get obsessed with size. You had one that was obsessed with Sidney Rice, and anybody that looked like Sidney, even though they couldn't play dead in the movie, would get an offer. Then another obsessed with Deebo Samuel. And those guys would get it. So you got a bunch of 6 foot, 220-pound receivers that can't run.
Right.
I mean, we've had an adventure there since Beamer's been here. I think they recruited the right guys. But I give me speed. It's a speed game, baby. Give me speed over size every day at that spot. Same with corner. And I do want to give a shout out to Torian Gray and those guys because they do recruit size at corner, but all those guys can run.
Yeah.
You got to be able to run in this league. All right, Stuart, you there, bub?
Hey, can y'all hear me?
Yes. Hey, Stuart, we love you. We're there. We hear you.
Oh, technology. I feel like, I had Ryan Maxim. He's the smartest guy in here, but he just lost some of his stock today. Couldn't get me hooked up.
The poor kid. That's all right. Well, hey, we still got 20 minutes with you, and that'll be a lot. Glad to have you. Good to see you, as always. Yesterday, you had a chance to spend some time down at the ballpark and get introduced to Jeremiah Donati, who will be replacing Coach Tanner in the AD's office. Tell us about the experience, and I know you had a chance to talk to him too. What'd he say?
Yeah, firsthand, Coach Tanner is going to definitely be different, especially for me, not having him up on that third floor. So that's going to be a unusual day when that office is cleaned out and the new AD has moved in. But really impressive listening to him yesterday, and we're all kind of figuring out what are we going to call him. Is it just go by the first name? We all call Coach Tanner Coach, so it made it easy. So, but just super impressive and just. I've told y'all this all the time. I'm a Gamecock fan first, and then whatever other role I've been in, coach or now Gamecock Club, or I get to do radio. So I'm always listening through a fan's ear, probably more than any other, and just super impressed with what he had to say yesterday. And then personally, when we get to meet him in a different environment, just seemed like a very genuine person.
We're certainly gonna talk about Coach Tanner. I mentioned yesterday, this program, I can tell you, this program right here, we will be celebrating Ray Tanner, who's the greatest Gamecock in the history of the school, and we'll do that throughout the month, and we'll have him on and embarrass him and all that stuff. He doesn't like all that, but we're gonna do it anyways. But because Mr. AD did not, you're right. We got to come up with a name here. Because Jeremiah Donati is brand new, try to keep as much focused on him and how he fits at South Carolina. I'll tell you what stood out to me. I don't know. I might have been Rick or one of those guys that asked him why South Carolina? Not once in the whole answer. And it started with the people and the place and the environment and the city. Not once in the answer did he say anything about the Southeastern Conference. That was an eyebrow raiser.
Yeah, that was very noticeable to me too, because all my years being in this league, you kind of hear that a lot when somebody new comes in. Yeah. But you could tell his passion, and then to see it with his family, his wife here, 2 young daughters, they have a true passion about South Carolina. And that's cool because we're going to need it. I love sitting here when I listen to y'all talk recruiting. There's a lot of great things going on here right now. And now he's coming in. He said it yesterday. I'm not coming into a fixer-upper. I'm coming in to now really get the keys to a high-level machine, and how do we get better? And I do think with what he brings to the table, I look forward to just hearing his stories. I mean, his background leading into what revenue sharing and NIL is going to be for all of us, I think is going to be a huge asset to all of us.
Yeah, he hit that nail right on the head yesterday. He didn't shy away from the future of college athletics at all. And it told me that he himself at least is very prepared. That seems like probably one of his first endeavors once he gets to campus here is getting with everybody in the AD's office, who obviously you work with, and trying to make sure that South Carolina is in front of what's coming and not behind it.
Yeah, we could all sit here and talk about NIL and what's going on at places. You hear stories that make you go, holy cow, is that right? With the numbers and dollars, you have to stay on. You cannot wait. And as y'all were just saying, if you're trying to track a guy when he comes on the transfer portal, you're already too late.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool what y'all were talking about with it, because we felt the same way when it started. But you're going to have to stay in front now because of what this league, I mean, it's a 16-team league now that is just exploding from everyone. So it is going to be a day-to-day trying to make sure you're in front.
You mentioned just a moment ago, Coach, that he said yesterday, hey, look, they didn't bring me in here to fix a bunch of problems. First of all, that is such a credit to your boss and mentor and friend, father figure, everything, Coach Tanner. JC rattled it off the other day. Financially, we're in good shape. Facilities, we're in good shape. He mentioned yesterday, that was kind of intriguing, walking into, a $1 billion facility upgrade around the ballpark. The coaches, Coach Maneri, Coach Paris, Coach Staley, Coach Beamer, all of the Olympic sport coaches, all these guys, Ashley Chastain, who's awesome. There's a hell of a staff now at South Carolina. Ray Tanner, Coach, is leaving as an AD, leaving this department in just about as good of a shape as any AD. Generally, when an AD leaves, it's not all roses. And this is the exact opposite of that. I mean, he gets to walk in and it's like, hey, man, just don't screw it up.
I mean, all 4 coaches in the Power 4 sports, and Stuart, back me up here, but SEC Coach of the Year, National Coach of the Year, everybody that's in the Power 4 sports has been recognized at that level. And what an amazing thing for an AD or Director of Athletics, I should say.
I think so, too. One of the websites today we've had 3 Coach of the Years now, with Coach Beamer winning it the other day with Coach Paris, Coach Staley. I mean, Coach Maneri's the guy. I just hang around with him because he's a good old-fashioned storyteller, and I think y'all know I enjoy that. But he's a national championship coach. He's coached at the highest levels of schools outside of the SEC with Notre Dame, and then obviously his affection to the Air Force. And then you think about it, we had volleyball in the regionals. Coach Smith and what they do with soccer is phenomenal. Every sport feels positive. Yeah. And I'm old. He was, Jeremiah was walking around today, and I heard him ask one of our guys, when did you start here? And I kind of looked at Ryan Max, and we sit beside each other, and I go, God, I hope you don't ask me, because I started here in 1996. He tried to tell me he was in junior high or something, but, I can't remember it feeling this positive around here. It all starts with football. We knew that at baseball even back in the day, but it's just such a good feeling in the building. And to have a person that just came in yesterday and seemed so genuine, it really made you feel better, because we're all going to miss Coach Tanner walking out the door.
Yeah, there's no – well,
That's what I was about to get to. Like, I just gave you all the stuff that the public sees on the surface. They don't see what goes on in that building there. And what you're describing, Coach Tanner has built the ultimate culture, and you feel like Jeremiah Donati fits right into it.
I do. I mean, you ask anybody, I've said this to you, Jamie, I'm pretty good at judging quickly. It's part of being a coach. We have to recruit and meet a kid and quickly form an opinion that you have to be stuck with. And just really into a few minutes into his speech yesterday, you're just locked in. I mean, this is a guy that you can tell has come from, he even mentioned his mentors and his pedigree. I mean, just think about your first jobs with Lee Steinberg. I mean, just that was how lucky I got starting out, first college job with Ray Tanner. I mean, those guys are legends in their field. And then to think you come out of law school and you get into sports entertainment, y'all know 15 years ago, that didn't make sense going into college athletics or 20 years ago. And now it's like, holy cow, it seems like that's what you'd have to do. So I really can't wait to just get around. He came in today. He's here on campus today. I think he's going to probably head back home this weekend. Told us he may try to get back. It's December, so it's going to be tough, but he'll be moving in. I think he said January 2nd or wherever, and then really get to see him a bunch this spring as his family will be moving out kind of after the school year. So give him a 6 months or so to kind of acclimate himself here too.
Coach, what do you, I mean, I'm not really sure how to ask this question, and certainly don't want to step on Coach Tanner's toes. This is more of a question for Coach Tanner, but in this transitional period here with Coach Tanner departing and Jeremiah Donati coming in, what have you talked with them about what that will be like? Like, how much is Coach Tanner going to help, and in what capacity? How much does Jeremiah Donati want to lean on Coach Tanner to kind of keep things moving in the right direction?
I haven't really brought it up. I've tried to have more fun with Coach Tanner in this process. It's also been sad for all of us to know that just not going to be here. That's the only sad part. So I joked the other day, I went up with some Post-it notes and said, can I put Stu on the things I want when we start moving the office, have some fun with it. But, I could just tell yesterday out to Coach Tanner. And Coach Tanner is always going to be there. He's that mentor type personality. So I really don't think they knew each other. It wasn't a question I had been asking him. I didn't keep texting Coach Tanner saying, hey, who's next? Who's next? I was hearing a lot from guys like y'all. And when it kind of all came together, I don't think there was a huge relationship with those two, but you could tell yesterday. And then Ryan was at the game last night and just kind of shared with me. It was cool to see how they kind of bonded quickly last night, because this guy's intelligent. Of course, you want to have Ray Tanner giving you advice of what he's done. And he's been here, for 30 years in this environment in Columbia. So I just think he just immediately came in and realized, I want to make this another resource.
Yeah, I think it's I'll be interested too to see, because I think he said he grew up in Pullman, Washington.
Yep.
If I heard that correctly. And then spent time in California, obviously, with school, spent time in Texas. We're talking about different animals here.
Never been to the South, man.
And now you're coming here into the heart of the Southeast. I'll really be interested to see what I'm talking. In addition to, we've already discussed the fact that there's the potential for college athletes to be employees and name, image, and likeness and all that stuff. He hit on that, but culturally, like things that he either inherited or developed in places like Texas and California that could work in the athletics department at South Carolina. I'll really be interested to see. I don't know if y'all discussed any of that with him yesterday or not.
Not really. I mean, the majority of what we got to hear, everybody was hearing. The few minutes we got to share after it in a little meet and greet, and then this morning, something that stood out to me that I thought was really, didn't have to say, but was a big deal, is he sent us an email just saying, hey, this is family. You're going to see my wife. You're going to see my daughters here. That's a big deal to all of us, because I just heard that as y'all were talking about culture. If you don't think your family's part of your culture, probably not going to have a family very long. I have one of my biggest milestones this week. I had my 25th anniversary. That's a big deal to me because Tracy and I started dating when I was coaching, and Coach Tanner and Coach Tolman and all these people made me realize this. She's as big a part of this as anybody. So it was cool to hear him say that. Never at one time yesterday did he talk about himself. He constantly gave credit to his mentors or the different ADs he'd been with. You could just see President Amaritas how excited he was, because I know it's hard for him. He and Coach Tanner were so close to just have that energy coming in, and Coach Tanner's still going to be here. You know, we pick on him with his title, special consultant to the president. Oh, that's going to fit on one card, but he's going to be right here too. So I'm excited to see what this period in Gamecock time comes, because we've got a lot of great things happening.
Coach Tanner needs to get him a bathing suit and get his ass down to Murrells Inlet or Garden City or whatever it is.
Hey, I've had a lot of locker rooms with Coach Tanner. Let's just let him stay. We don't need to be talking about bathing suits on here.
By the way, I've taken my happy butt to Pullman, Washington before, guys. I was out in Seattle for work, and we drove out there. That I got to get that out of my mind real quick.
Oh,
Pullman,
come on, man.
I think growing up in Pullman, Washington is going to help him adjust to the culture at Eastern Washington is very rural. If you guys see calendars with all the sunflowers on them and stuff, that's where they take those pictures. We're driving out there. I'm like, what the hell are all these people taking in the field with cameras for? And you look at these giant sunflowers and meadows and stuff. It was in July. Pullman's about a little smaller than Starkville,
Whoa,
Mississippi. It's in a metro area with Moscow, Idaho, where the University of Idaho is. It's right across the border. Because I wanted to say I'd been to Idaho, so we crossed the border and went to the university. They play at a football stadium that looks a lot like the indoor that's across from the Rice Building in Idaho. But it's not like a big city. I think there's not Spokane's probably the closest big city. It's probably 2 hours away. So people that live in small places in this country, whether in the South or not, they're pretty, it's a lot different than, this guy does have California ties. It's not like he grew up in LA and is going to be like in total culture shock. Although moving to South Carolina from somewhere else, people I've talked to, there is a little bit of adjustment that has to take place because we're a little different. But I think he'll be fine just based on my couple of days out in Pullman, Washington.
Yeah. You mentioned the calendar. I was thinking more of like a firefighters calendar with Coach Tanner's face on it, on each of the firefighters.
It's really taking your turn.
This is getting weird.
Well, I was wondering what he was talking about, and I was like, is he playing off of the beach thing? Turns out I was doing all that on my own. So apologies to Coach Tanner and his retirement and calendar life. Coach, what do you is there anything that you can share as far as the next few weeks what the university plans to do for Coach Tanner? I'm not necessarily talking about like on Twitter, special videos and things like that, but is there anything planned over the next couple of weeks before he slides into his new role?
There will certainly be celebrations when baseball season starts because that's where he would want it to be.
Yeah.
We all weren't really aware of the timeline either. I know they were working hard to figure out who the next AD was going to be, but I'm telling you right now, walking this building every day, I didn't know it was going to be yesterday, until a day or so before. So I really think the timeline of December would be hard because of a lot of other cool things going on. We got Darius here tonight, that concert. You're hoping, God, we'd still all love to be in the playoffs, but you're going to have a great bowl. You've got basketball just having some super cool games. I'm correct. Doesn't our women go out and play TCU this weekend? If I'm looking at it right, don't they play Sunday?
Oh.
They play TCU. I don't know if it's a neutral game or a home game. I don't think they travel there.
Man, I think it's a neutral game, but I mean, it's irony that those two teams match up, and those I really think, JB, the majority of the celebration, and I think this is how he would want it, is going to start more February when baseball starts. That opening weekend, I don't know what's been revealed yet, but I'm telling you, that opening weekend is going to be really, really cool. We're trying now to get all the alumni. I mean, I'm having names. You can go back to Marcus Macbeth and Derek Urquhart. I mean, we're talking trying to get kids that started here in 1996 with Coach Tanner all the way through 12 to be here that opening weekend for all the celebration that'll go on.
Yeah. Well, I know we'll be there for opening weekend. We'll start to work on those details.
Yeah.
After the first of the year, much like we did last year. Hey, by the way, I don't know if just to quickly hit on something. Yeah, it is Sunday, 7:00 Sunday night in Fort Worth, Carolina and TCU. I haven't asked. Do you know when we're getting the official schedule? Because it's not out yet for baseball. Have you heard anything?
I kind of thought it would have been coming out. I kind of heard it was going to come out around Thanksgiving.
Me too.
Say it's kind of still close to Thanksgiving, but I mean, I've gotten it myself. I keep waiting on it to come out, and everybody loves posters. So, everybody asks me when this schedule poster coming out and when can we start looking at where we're going. But I have to jump back on here with you when it does, because we got some heck of a home SEC games. I mean, we can nuts. And I know you've seen those. I think those are out to think that you got to play LSU here to end the season. I mean, how fitting is that for Coach Maneri to have to do? But you got Tennessee coming here, so it'll be some good ones. I think the big thing is trying to get contracts back, because you don't want to say you're playing team XYZ and then they don't send it back and you have to change that on everything. So I'm sure it'll be out soon. Ken Reichard is always on top of it, and he has to do football, and we've both been beaten up pretty good by the Browns this year, so Kent's probably moving a step slow too. Like we'll have it out soon.
Come on, Kent.
By the way, I just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't watch the game and go through all of it. And then I see these numbers the next morning, and I'm going, well, I'm glad I just didn't watch all that.
The Browns, they'll be all right. They're 3-9. They're probably out of the playoffs at this point, but you could turn it around.
We got the Steelers, the Chiefs. So, I mean, it'll be all down.
Hey, you might beat the Chiefs. They're due for a loss.
Poor kid. Well, they just beat the Steelers. So,
Yeah, that's true. That was a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
But, because I really, schedule-wise, I had to get it because of Derek and us trying to figure out where he's going to be and when it all wraps up. So, it's time to get that thing out and let fans start playing. And today, by the way, is last day for seat renewals on baseball season 2. So, starting next week, people start getting to maybe add new seats or move around, and then all that'll be wrapped up before Christmas, and it'll be ready to roll.
It'll be here before you know it. Carolina baseball is getting close, and they're going to be good, and they're going to be a lot of fun in Coach Maneri's first season in town. Well, Coach, we really appreciate you jumping in. It was very interesting to hear your perspective after meeting with Jeremiah Donati yesterday, and your thoughts on him. He'll be the new boss.
Yeah.
So want to stay on his good side, that's for sure. I'm certainly looking forward to meeting him, but I know at the end of the day, it's been almost 30 years since Coach Tanner arrived in Columbia, South Carolina. And it's hard to believe that part of the tenure is about to end. So I know it's an emotional time for people like you and so many others, Miss Christie in that building, who've been around Coach Tanner forever. But it does seem like at the end of the day, the athletics department is in a very safe spot and a really good spot moving forward. And Coach Tanner's left it in great hands. And Jeremiah Donati is walking into a very good situation. Everybody's winning in this deal.
Well, we're all excited here, and obviously me personally, we all want to go out on top. We feel like with the types of gosh, we could end up with 10 wins this year. That's a big deal. And to get to go out in that regard as AD, now get to move into his special consultant role. So it'll be fun to see what the future has for him. But super excited about Jeremiah coming in. I just got a great feeling about him and the limited interaction I got to have yesterday.
100% agree with that. Listening to him talk was very encouraging, and can't wait to actually meet him personally. Coach, we'll let you run. I know you just celebrated your 25th anniversary, so I hope you and Miss Tracy had a great time. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. And before you know it, we're going to be talking baseball, man. We'll be talking baseball.
I love it. I'll have to get my volume working on my laptop so I don't have to use the phone. So it was a good little test run today to get it all up and going. But great seeing y'all, and thanks for having me.
Always. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
There you go. Stuart
Lake joining us from the Rice Building on campus at Carolina. When we return, we'll fly to Vegas, kind of, and we'll talk to Raphael. Championship games this weekend. We'll look at those spreads. If you're going to lay some cash, where are you going with it? At VSI Doc Sports on Twitter. Rafael Esparza joins us next on ITG.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
Touchdown Brewer. Set up a screen, and it goes to Brewer. 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown Brewer, his second of the day. Pitches it to Brewer, turns the corner, touchdown, number 3 of the afternoon.
Hey folks, it's Mike Morgan for Ryan Brewer Fence. That's right, you know the former Gamecock legend as a terrific college football player. Well, I know him as that too. I also know him as the guy that runs a great business, one of the best businesses in South Carolina. How do I know that? Well, for one, I'm actually a client of Ryan's. I had my home in Columbia done years ago, and his crew did an outstanding job, just as he does for everybody else. Whether you're in the market for a fence, railings, columns, or anything in between, their craftsmanship, their experience, and service, second to none. Ryan Brewer Fence has over 15 years of experience with consultation and installation of residential and commercial fencing and railings. Rest assured, your job will be done with an unparalleled level of expertise, and it's done on time, and they do it right the first time. Again, you're not going to do any better than Ryan Brewer. Ryan Brewer Fence. The website is ryanbrewer.net. Set up an appointment today. Tell them Mike sent you.
I said, oh, Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Disaster comes uninformed. During and after natural disasters or accidents, there can be a heavy loss to property. It can become extremely difficult to bounce back to what you knew before. Having your home or office destroyed or damaged by water, fire, smoke, or mold affects your personal and business lifestyle. Resto Pros of the Midlands is here to help. Open 24/7. Call them when you need them. 803-493-0170. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays from Resto Pros.
The State Farm Personal Price Plan helps you create an affordable price just for you.
Contact local agent Gary Patterson for your personal price plan today.
Away, but we've got Rafael Esparza today here on ITG, built by the Barn Co. and powered by our friends at Electric Bikes of Charleston, electricbikescharleston.com. It's championship weekend, Mr. Esparza. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I have my Wi-Fi and my sound working for you guys, not like your last guest, but that's another story.
Hey, you watch your mouth. That's my man now.
And South Carolina's 45-1 to win the College World Series. I tried to post it in your chat, and I got denied. I mean, I got the big X. I can't post on your guys' chat.
It won't. That's because you're. Yeah. We made the chat for this particular show premium because we were getting some spam and generate revenue, and there's no way to comp you. Like, there's no way to give you a free.
Well, how much is it?
Stupid.
How much is it?
It's $5 a month. But
$5 a month.
That's a lot.
Jeez.
That's $60 a year, man. I wouldn't.
You'd be shocked at how many people are falling apart. Oh my God, they're ripping us off. Shut up. No, we're not. We all have to work. You know.
But that's, hey Phil, put that in the chat. Put that in the chat box.
Driving nice cars, I guess. I mean, for $5 a month, you guys. What kind of cars you guys all driving now these days?
Maserati.
My wife took mine away from me.
Your Maserati? No,
I got a truck that I just bought a truck this past summer. I'm gonna drive it till I'm old. I'll look like Sanford and Son in like 20 years. That old beat up truck. That's my goal. When I'm 80, still drive the same truck.
It's property tax season, so we got to fill in that gap somewhere.
Oh crap! I gotta pay my car taxes.
You need a ski in South Carolina. They need to put a ski mask on when they take that.
Raphael, I need a winner, buddy. I need a winner for this car tax.
That's right. You got to be sharp today, Raphael. We need it.
Yeah. Well, there's, you can make the argument that I don't know, who knows, maybe the best games of the weekend are played tonight. I don't know. All the spreads this weekend are 5 points or less, but that first one tonight at 8:00 out there in Boise, where I'm sure it's going to be really freaking cold, between UNLV and the Broncos. I think Boise State's a 4.5 point favorite still, right?
I would get the 4.5 now, because there's no way this was going to be 4.5 by kickoff. I think the betting public's going to see the blue turf. They're going to like, oh, wow, I forgot Boise gets this game at home. And I think they're going to jump all that. It would probably end up like 5.5. I don't think we'll see up to 6, just because UNLV is a nice story and people are going to – I mean, there's two teams that people loved all season long, Indiana, UNLV, Tulane, and stuff like that. So I think we'll get some money on UNLV, but 4.5 – this one opened up at 4, so – I jumped on the 4 right away, but I think it'll probably close like around 5.5, 5.
Okay. If Ashton Genty, by the way, has announced he's going to the NFL. Yep.
You took Boise minus the 4, right? Or you?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Thank you. I'm writing this down.
This game tonight, Genty, where do you place him now in the Heisman race, and what could this game do? This was UNLV. They already beat them early in the season, but it was that you could. This is the wrong term, but for lack of better terms, it was his worst game of the season, most difficult game to run in. 33 carries for like 128 yards or something like that. It was a challenge. So we'll see what it looks like tonight. But where is he in the Heisman race, and what could this game do for that?
He only plays offense, correct?
Well, that's the last thing I heard. Yes.
And that's why he's not going to win. He will need a 400 type game, or maybe a Josh Jacobs touchdown type of game like we saw last night, where he was just putting the ball in the end zone. I think he's out of it completely. I don't care what he does tonight. I think the Heisman voters have seen a guy doing offense and defense, and how many snaps is he doing for that whole game? I mean, Gentry is going to come in second. Probably going to be a nice NFL running back. Boy, has a running back made an emergence in the last couple of years, in college and in NFL, but he's going to be a nice one. His over-under tonight in the game is 175.5 points over or yards over-under. And I know some states can't bet college prop bets. Well, there's other ways to bet that, but that's another story. That's another show.
Yeah, that's big. When is the last time the top 2 Heisman vote getters, there wasn't one from like the southeast of the United States?
Or a quarterback.
Yeah. Boy, we'd have to do some digging on that.
Well, I'm sure the SEC is probably going to make some phone calls after they announce it and stuff like that. So this would just be a nominee. It won't happen again.
There's nobody in the SEC. You know the one player who, the way that they're playing right now, would deserve consideration. That's our quarterback, Lenore Sellers. There's nobody in the SEC.
I agree.
Playing at that level. I mean, before the season, I know Milroe and Beck's had I don't want to say a terrible year, but he's thrown the ball way too many times to the other team.
He's had a terrible year.
Yeah, for what he was expected to be, I think he's had a terrible year.
Yeah, I agree.
And Milroe has been so up and down. It's been interesting. All right, Tulane and Army tonight at 8:00 on ABC. Tulane is a 5-point favorite up in West Point at Mitchie Stadium in the AAC championship. What is the temperature tonight in West Point?
Oh, it's cold everywhere.
Yeah, well, I don't know how cold it is in Louisiana, where Tulane is located, but they're gonna be in upstate New York tonight. Wow, but they're 5-point favorites.
Yeah, this one's interesting. I wanted to say take Tulane, but I'm just going to sit back and watch this one, because if you think about when Army and Notre Dame played, boy, did Notre Dame put the butt whooping on them. And Tulane kind of plays the same type of offense, run first, and I think they'll beat up on Army, but it's outside. It's going to be cold. I played a prop bet that you can find a lot. Both teams have scored over 20 plus points. It's plus money. I think it was plus 130. I think we're going to see like a 44-40 type of game, something, or 24-20 type of game. I'm sorry, something around that type of game. But I'm going to be rooting for Tulane because it's the best football team in the state of Louisiana. Not one, not two, but 3 straight years. So I'm going to be rooting for Tulane to beat Army.
That includes better than the Saints, right?
Yeah, yes, it's best football team in the state of Louisiana, pro and college and high school.
What would the odds be on Tulane versus Saints, Raphael?
I mean, everyone always says that. Oh,
I'm joking. I'm joking.
The Saints would probably be like 3 touchdown favorites.
That's it.
Not bad. I'll take that.
There's a lot of rumors swirling about the Tulane coach. Some wrong.
Yeah,
maybe going to North Carolina too. So what?
I thought they were going to hire Bill Belichick.
That's North Carolina.
That is the smartest thing North Carolina ever did. Because now, if people are going to be like, "Hey, if he's interested, I'm going to be interested now." Smart move for the Tar Heels.
Actually, I never thought about it that way. That's an interesting viewpoint of that.
That's just
Brilliant
like them
move.
too.
Brilliant move.
Anyway, no, I think, I think it's because that'd be the second coach that's walked out the door. I mean, this guy's in his first year there, so you have to wonder how sustainable that is. But sometimes you'll have 3 coaches or 2 coaches in 3 years, and you're fine. But I think that could be a factor. Of course, North Carolina. It was public that Jeff Monken interviewed with North Carolina because he's interviewed everywhere in the country every year, and the Army kids don't care, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I think that cold's it. I mean, I'm in Chicago right now. It was 12. 12. And upstate New York is equally chilly.
Run game.
It's Tulane kids.
Run game?
Yeah, run the ball. Yeah.
It's funny. All right, at noon on ABC tomorrow in Arlington, Arizona State and Iowa State. It shouldn't be as chilly inside AT&T Ballpark. The Sun Devils are on a roll, and they are 1.5-point favorites. The total is 49.5, but they get to see that Cyclones defense, Raphael.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this game, and so was everyone in the SEC and everyone that thinks they still have a shot. They're going to be watching this game, and they're going to be watching SMU and Clemson's game, because if we see any hiccup in the scenarios of what the outcome of this game, someone's getting in that we didn't see on the bracket last Tuesday. So I'm really excited. I like Iowa State in this one. Granted, Arizona State picked to be dead last when the season started. Hats off, forks up. Congratulations, great season, but I'm going to take the Cyclones.
The Arizona State, it really is a fascinating story. If you actually go back and look at the season, when they lost to Cincinnati, it was like, okay, they had a nice run. You know, they're 5-2. They haven't lost since. I mean, you could make the argument of how difficult that stretch has been to get through, for sure. But at the end of the day, they've won all the games, and they already got beat by Cincinnati, who didn't have a good year. So
I think
major props to them.
It's tougher than what SMU had to do, or Indiana.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
No, I'm an Arizona State and UNLV fan, so I'm going to be pulling for those teams. Although I didn't pick them on the Fab Five and probably won't bet on them. So this way I can't lose. I either get money and clout here, or some teams I like go to the playoff.
How about Matt Campbell? Yeah, does he return to Iowa State next year? I mean, there's not a ton of job openings this season.
I think he does. I mean, there's rumors that he's on the board for some NFL jobs. I mean,
yeah.
But I don't think that happens. I think if any college coach jumps ships and goes to the NFL, it's the Chicago Bears and Marcus Freeman. But I think everyone else will stay stuff like that.
You said that a couple weeks ago too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of
still picking
Wait
up.
a minute. No. Please no. No.
Please no.
If he's the gets the Bears job, they need to go to Hallis Hall and burn it to the ground.
You know what? I'm a little bit opposite. I think a lot of these teams are looking at the Pittsburgh way now. I mean, who would have thought that Pittsburgh
He's
are
not
9-3?
Mike Tomlin.
I know that, but bring some guy. If you're going to bring another Mike Vrabel and all that, and the Bears struggle, and they fire him again, and now you have Caleb Williams going through 4 offensive corners. Why don't you hire a young guy and say, hey, you know what? You're here for 4 to 5 years. You're gonna be here instead of fire someone because they just lost the Packers again. Change something up. I agree. Put something different in there instead of firing another head coach during the end of the season. No.
Go offense. Go Cliff Kingsbury. They've never done that. They went the
he
safe
turned down the offensive
route.
coordinator job. Why would he want the head coaching job? They offered him the offensive coordinator job.
Yeah, and we're happy with where Cliff is right now. Thank you.
They could hire Jim Harbaugh, but because Jim Harbaugh didn't like the fact that Kevin Warren, who's a moron, tried to unilaterally cancel all of college football during COVID. It's the most arrogant thing I've ever seen in my life. And everybody told him to get effed, and he had to reverse and play anyway. Because Harbaugh called him out on that. Harbaugh's like, hey, Jim wants the Bears job. Nah, we'll stick with Matt Eberflus. I mean, Harbaugh turned Colin Kaepernick into a Super Bowl quarterback. What could he do with Caleb Williams, even though I'm not a huge Caleb? Anyway, this isn't the Bears podcast. My bad.
Actually, not a bad point.
We'll talk later on, JC.
How about
Raphael?
How about tomorrow at 4 on ABC? You've got Georgia and Texas, the Longhorns taken down by the Dogs at home earlier this season, yet they're 2.5-point favorites in Georgia's backyard in Atlanta.
So upset that there's no other college football game besides this one. So I'm going to be forced to watch an SEC game, which I'd rather see South Carolina playing this game. And you don't want to get me
you and a lot of other people.
Alabama is ahead of South Carolina. If it wasn't for South Carolina losing that game against LSU, who lost their quarterback during that game, boy, they penalized Florida State for losing their quarterback. Why didn't they penalize the way Oklahoma beat up on Alabama a couple of weeks ago? But don't get me started on this. I'm hoping Texas wins because I want to see what the committee does with a 3-loss Georgia team of Beck, who will probably throw some more picks on TV live tomorrow. So I'm hoping for a Texas win.
Yeah, well, Raphael, you should be excited. You're not going to have to watch the SEC in the playoffs this year. They're screwing everybody over.
This is why I love college basketball, because everybody has a shot. You know what? Why? This is just a money grab. Put Alabama in because they get the money and all that. Give me a break. That's why college basketball's tournament rules over anybody else's tournament, because they let the small people go. What if Boise State beat Georgia one year because Beck got hurt or something's weird happened because of turnovers? Anything can happen in a game.
I wasn't going to talk to you about this because I've been mad all week. And I know you like to not like the SEC, but I'll just say this. It's not a tournament.
It's not a tournament. South Carolina love.
That's South Carolina, though. I've been ranting about Indiana and Penn State getting in, but we need to go there. I'll just say this to your point. It's not a tournament like they have it now. It's a invitational. It's like the freaking Maui Invitational.
SEC Invitational. That's what it is.
Big Ten's going to get more teams in. If Clemson beats SMU.
Let me ask you a question. That's where we're going next. If SMU loses to Clemson, and they've played the schedule's been soft, about as soft as Indiana's this year. They'll be 11-2. Do you think they deserve to be in?
SMU, no.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, it's.
But if you're gonna, I've been telling you, if you're gonna add another SEC team in, I'm jumping Alabama. I'm putting South Carolina in over Alabama easily. Yeah. No ifs, ands, or buts. I'm putting in because they're the hottest team that no one really wants to talk about because they don't have the checkbook like Alabama has.
Yeah, it was really the whole thing the other night was really baffling. I mean, leaving Miami where they left Miami. I mean. And that I said this week, I'm looking at it through garnet glasses because I've watched every second of every game in this league this year. I know what I'm looking at. This is crazy, but we need 2 hours to continue to have this.
And I feel bad. It's because of the LSU game. That's the reason why the Gamecocks are here is because of the LSU game. Doesn't matter that Alabama beats South Carolina. It doesn't matter. It's because of the LSU game.
Yep, I agree.
No, the only
and it's almost like nobody on the committee even watched the game.
Yeah,
it's like they don't even know what happened in the ball game. It's just. And the Ward Manual the other night when Reese Davis did a killer job with the question, "What can change from championship weekend?" Oh, nothing. If you're not in, you're out. Like, what are you talking about? You mean to tell me that the ACC champion couldn't adjust? South Carolina or Georgia? Georgia beat Clemson by 31 points. Anyways. Speaking of the ACC, what do you think about it? SMU's a 2.5-point favorite, 8:00 tomorrow night.
I'm going to be rooting for SMU just because I don't want to see Clemson in it. I think they're going to lose early if they're in it, and I'd rather see a team that no one knows they probably had a football team until this year. What's this SMU school is? I'm rooting for SMU, so I think they can win this game. And I think they can control the tempo with their running game.
Very interesting. Yeah, that is very interesting. All right. And finally, Penn State and Oregon, 8:00, CBS tomorrow night. The Ducks 3.5-point favorites. Big game, James. Big game, James here.
So it screams weird to me. I would have thought Oregon would have been like 5 or 6 point favorite. I think the speed of the Ducks is going to bother Penn State. I'm looking for a big game for Oregon's second half. I think it's going to be a barn burner in the first half. I just think the speed is going to be too much in the second half for Penn State. And I can't believe Franklin, A, still has a job, and B, I think Oregon wins by a touchdown.
Raphael, there's anything to the fact the game's being played in Indianapolis and Oregon's having to travel again across the country?
If this was week 1, I would say yes, but they've been doing it all season long. So I think that it's not like they're flying JetBlue or Spirit. Yeah. So
Spirit.
I don't want
Spirit.
I don't want to say that they're like in coach and they're all three of them, and someone's in the B seat. This guy's 280 pounds and he's sitting in the B seat. So no, I don't give that much credit.
Spirit.
How much do you care about? How much do you care about James Franklin not winning the big game? Because I mean, is that something that enters your mind at all when you're doing research on this?
The B seat.
There's too many. I mean, I'm shocked that he still has a job, and I'm still shocked that Ohio State hasn't fired their head coach. I thought they would have fired him after losing to Michigan Day, but these two coaches, I can't believe they must have some bad juju on their bosses that they still have a job. But that's why I don't think Penn State wins this one. They always have great defense, but their offense has always been the big reason why they can't win the big game. Their defense is always keeps them in the games. It's their offense.
This is my nightmare. 280 pounds in the B seat on Spirit Airlines.
You got to put a quarter
or
in
the E seat.
A machine on Spirit to get a seatbelt.
That's funny. Because I've been there.
Hey, all right, folks. It's an optional.
I was there.
If you'd like to land with landing gear, it's $10.
Coming back from
throw your ass out the plane is free.
JC, coming back from your wedding, I was there. Coming home from it, going there, I was fine, but coming home from your wedding, oh man, the cat that landed in the B seat was like big and smelly, and his music was blaring. I was like, I'm gonna kill this freaking guy,
Dude,
man. I'm hungover, and I want to go home.
Once Spirit,
I was
one
on
time,
United.
won't do it again.
Yeah, me too.
One time, won't do it again.
I was on United first class going to Columbia from Chicago on a nice jet, and I upgraded because I'm a rewards thing, and I was in the window seat, and I learned quickly why I hated the window seat. This dude was 450 and had an oxygen tank,
and in your lap,
and smelled like cigars. And I was it was before I got my sleep apnea machine, so I was having some claustrophobia attacks at the time. I don't have them anymore, but I got real claustrophobia. I almost got off the plane. Like I almost said, I told my wife, I was like, I gotta get off the plane. I can't, because I felt so trapped and boxed in. But I'm with you there. I'm an aisle seat guy all the way. And
100%.
Hey, 280 pounds in the B seat. That's the name of a song or something. We got to come up with something.
Right.
Phil, be prepared. We're going to get a text around midnight from JC with some AI generated.
That's right. He's going to write the lyrics as soon as the show's over. Yeah, take it there.
Raphael,
I'll leave you guys with a good plexi. I know you're looking for plays and stuff like that. Chargers, Kansas City in the NFL. We've all bashed Kansas City. They haven't covered games. I still can't believe Patrick Mahomes' top 5 is MVP rankings for betting odds. He's not even close to an MVP. I have him maybe like 15th or 16th choice for MVP odds. This is when he has an MVP game. Everyone loves the Chargers money line. We can't beg for Chargers +4. They're taking them straight up thinking, oh, this is going to be Kansas City's second loss. I think Kansas City shows up in this game, and we all think about, damn it, are they going to win a third Super Bowl? So I like Kansas City -4, even though everybody in the world likes the Chargers.
See, that's where you make the big bucks, boys. You stick around to the end of the segment, you get the money line stuff. Not money line, but the money picks from Raphael. None of it matters, though, because I got news for everybody. This is the year the Lions win the Super Bowl.
They looked tough last night. I thought their defense was really impressive. Granted, there was a lot of points scored in this one, but when the defense needed a stop, they got that stop. So it was
Well,
very
the second half
to go for a fourth down.
Yeah, the
That was
second half
ballsy.
last night was.
Day kick. He's gonna. I don't understand his coaching style. Granted, he's only lost one game, but man, if you're a Detroit Lions fan, just put Pepto right next to you, right next to your beer while you're watching it, because you're gonna be chugging that in the second half besides your beer.
Good point. Hey man, have a wonderful weekend. We always love to see you. It should be a fun weekend, and we'll see where it all shakes out as far as the CFP goes.
When your guy your chat says the SEC smoked the ACC in college basketball, yes they did. That was a fantastic showing for SEC in college hoops. So
yeah,
congrats to SEC.
They're good, better. They are.
I just don't like SEC football. I enjoy everything else. Baseball, college,
best part.
football.
It's the
football.
best
Give me a
part.
break. Give me
Come
a
on,
break.
man.
Beck, what were you gonna say? Beck is a Heisman Trophy finalist now too? I just think he threw a pick right now.
Yeah, he did. Actually,
he did. Yeah, right.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me check my phone.
When do you put out your early Heisman odds for 25?
I'll probably put that out sometime during like when they're playing some of these games. I'll put them out.
Do you plan on having Lenore Sellers in those?
Yes. I have my list. I have my list.
That was a professional, emphatic, no BS. Yes, I love.
Yeah,
it.
he's on my list.
Yeah, that's awesome. Did you see that run he made against Clemson?
Yeah,
for the touch for the winner. It's unbelievable.
They should be in. They should be in the. I'm not just saying anything on your show, but
no, we know that.
Pathetic.
Yeah.
Hey,
A lot of people feel that way.
the people across the country who actually have a clue have been, but this committee's got 14-year journalists from USA Today on it. So what do we know that?
But I also want
they
Deion
could
in it
possibly
just because I want to see Deion on TV during the college football playoffs. So I would put.
They had a chance, they blew it.
I know. Yeah, you blew it.
All right, Raphael, we got to run. Thank you, man. Have a wonderful weekend.
Take it easy, guys.
There you go,
All right,
Raphael
thanks,
Esparza at VSI Doc Sports. Flint, Strickland up next on ITG.
There's nothing like Saturday in South Carolina. However you enjoy Gamecock football, Gamecock Traditions has a long-standing legacy of being a part of your game day. From tailgates to touchdowns, Gamecock Traditions has what you need and want with our beloved Block C logo. Get into Gamecock Traditions in Lexington or the Village at Sand Hill, or visit GamecockTraditions.com and have it shipped to your doorstep. We look forward to taking care of your family. Go Gamecocks.
When you bundle home and auto, good things can happen. You get a local agent who can help you choose the right coverage for you at a price that's right for you.
Call State Farm agent Tony Pope today.
I'm not allowed to tell the ref how bad he is, so I'm going to need you to do that for me. Oh. He said,
I'm a beggar who could use some help. I'm a seeker, searching for myself. I'm a rolling stone, just waiting on a friend. I'm a lover, wishing on a star for another, with a broken heart to hold each other close till the end.
Nana's Porch presents a Southern staple delivered right to your doorstep. Nana's Porch locally crafted pimento cheese has been a hit for years at weddings, tailgates, and other events. Now you can order online and have it sent to your home. Visit nanasporch.com. That's nanasporch.com and click the pimento cheese tab to choose between their original pimento cheese and their jalapeno smoked pimento cheese set. nanasporch.com. Man, that's good.
When you bundle home and auto, good things can happen. You get a local agent who can help you choose the right coverage for you at a price that's right for you.
Call State Farm agent Tony Pope today.
I've rambled all around this world, seen the northern lights. I have drank with kings and queens and senoritas of the night. I've been lost up in Alaska, lit in Ohio, but when the good Lord comes a-calling, let me tell you where I'll go. Take me back to Carolina when I die. Take me back to Carolina when I die. No, I don't believe that heaven is only in the sky. Take me back to Carolina when I die. Yeah, I've seen tornadoes twisting across the Texas plains, and I've watched the palm trees swaying above the angels in L.A. But there's another like a crescent moon peeking through the pines. Take me back to Carolina when I die. So take me back to Carolina when I die. Take me back to Carolina when I die. No, I don't believe that heaven is only in the sky. Take me back to Carolina when I die. Mansions in the air, and my friends and my family and my dogs will all be there. Yeah, I hope that I can make it, but I'll only stay a while, 'cause I'm going to Carolina when I die. So take me back to Carolina when I die. Take me back to Carolina when I die. No, I don't believe that heaven is only in the sky. Take me back to Carolina when I die. No, I don't believe that heaven is only in the sky. Take me back to Carolina when I die. Take me back to Carolina when I die. Take me back to Carolina when
That'll be on the set list tonight as well. Patrick Davis's new album, Carolina When I Die, is out. Him and Darius will get together and sing that one for all of those at the NIL event tonight in Columbia. Welcome back. Final hour or so of Inside the Gamecocks. Thanks to Coach Lake and Darren Uscher and Rafael Esparza for joining us thus far. A reminder today at 3 o'clock at the Gamecock Traditions location in Lexington, right?
Yep.
In Lexington. Lenore Sellers will be there signing autographs. And so you can go by and get something special for somebody special in your life this holiday season. Put a Lenore Sellers autograph on it. Thanks to our friends at over at Tony Pope State Farm, Tony Pope State Farm, for sponsoring this final hour, TonyPope.com. Speaking of special friends in their lives, John Strickland joins us. Oh, and Mike and Michael Flint also here at 110.
Mike catches hell, y'all.
He deserves it. He was sending me strange videos last night at midnight. So yeah, I'm going to give it back to him as much as I can today.
That's strong, man.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, if you don't have a friend that'll send you strange videos in the middle of the night, do you really have a friend?
No, you don't.
You don't.
No.
These weren't friends. These weren't videos of himself, so everybody's aware.
No. I wasn't making that jump. Yeah, right.
Dude, all right, so we've had a hail in the shower video reference from you. We've had a Ray Tanner's face superimposed on a fireman calendar, and now you're talking about Flint and private videos.
Yeah.
I just want to remind our audience of this. This is all from the mind of Jamie Bradford. I'm the weird one.
You are,
but our host is a little weird today.
Yeah, you just gotta look, man. You gotta inform and you gotta entertain. Sometimes when you run out of stuff to entertain with, you gotta get creative.
Well, at least you can be creative, and we're not talking about some sort of stupid list.
That's a good point. That's
or
a good
data points.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I'm gonna get you out of here. Bye, Matt.
Michael, we've only got you for about 15 minutes. We know you got to run and make your next video, but what? Just kidding, man. Glad to have you as always. We haven't had a chance to talk to you since Well, I have, but the public hasn't had a chance to talk to you since Tuesday. Carolina being left out. What was your reaction to that?
Disappointing. I think everybody's nailed it on the head. There's really no metric to go by. And you look at last year to this year, everything is just completely changed. It's disappointing. I've always looked back in that LSU game is coming back to bite us. I think what really hurts us at the end of the day is the head-to-head matchups. And I think that's what the committee looked at. I really think that is basically all they looked at was the head-to-head matchup, and that was it. The fact that we lost to Alabama and we lost to Ole Miss. And I think that is simply what they looked at. They said South Carolina, they're going to be behind Alabama. They're going to be behind Ole Miss, same record. They lost to those two, and that was it. And I think they just went through it, and there was not a whole lot of deeper evaluation that went into it. That's just my opinion. But I really think the head-to-head at the end of the day was the deciding factor, and that was it. I don't think there was a whole lot else that went into it. But, looking back at where we were at the beginning of the season, how much this team has grown, how much Lenora Sellers has grown, how much improved the offensive line has gotten, how much better the defense consistently got throughout the course of the year. It's just been, phenomenal to see. And I think Coach Beamer and the staff deserve a ton of credit because there was a lot of noise early in the year. And I think with Coach Beamer, just throughout the course of his career here as the head coach, there's been a lot of noise at different points in the season with tough times, but he's always stayed the course. The core values of this team has never wavered. Coach Beamer's never wavered in that. And I think it's just, looking back at this season and kind of what this team has gone through is just, makes you proud to be, a Gamecock in general. And, for us to be in the conversation at the end of the day is, it's huge. And
his mom's calling him again, John. Go ahead.
Well, something to build on. So,
yeah. Oh, I'm glad. Is that your mom calling?
Yeah, actually, I can't. If I can't get my computer to work, my phone, it's all whatever.
Here, let me give you a pro tip, Mike. When you're using your phone, you put it on airplane mode, but you keep your Wi-Fi on so that nobody can call you, but the video still works. But pro tip.
I'm just glad your mom's calling you and not me. All right, John, what was your reaction to Tuesday night's 14th ranking for Carolina?
I mean, you know what my reaction is. Y'all heard me earlier this week, kind of how I felt on Monday. But, it's disappointing. But, at the end of the day, they took head-to-head, and that's what they took. And they basically said it, too. I mean, they basically said, hey, they won head-to-head, and this is where we're at. So I guess we'll live with it. You look back on this season, you're one bad officiating call from hosting a home playoff game. You are one or two plays away versus Alabama from, even if you take the LSU loss and keep it as a loss, you're one or two plays away in the Alabama game from playing in Atlanta tomorrow.
Yep.
So, I mean, man, it was a hell of a season. It was fun. Some up and downs early. But you know, I'll go back to what I said during the summertime. I said I thought this defense was for real, and they've showed every bit of what I saw during spring and in August.
Mm-hmm.
And the offense just kept getting better and better, like I thought they would. And you know, I even said, I think on here before the season, I was kind of like, hey, man, this team can win 9 or 10 games. And we were close to winning 11. So Boogie Huntley told me in July, he said, Strick, he says, we are at worst a 10-2 football team with the depth we have on this team. And damn if he wasn't right, because I still count I still count the LSU game as a W. So yes, we went 10-2, exactly what Boogie said. He said, he told me we were out there playing golf, and Boogie's like, Strick, we are a 10-2 team at worst. He said we are a playoff team this year. And sure enough, is that he was right. He was spot on it.
Hey, John and Michael, quick question for y'all real quick. You know, football players of any sport are resilient, right? You have ups and downs throughout the year. You have tough days on the practice field, whatever. But this one seems like it would be a kick in the nuts a little bit more than, you know, just losing a regular season game. You know, what is that mindset when you have so long to prepare for a bowl game? How quickly does this decision by the committee get washed out? Is a lot of that coaches? Is it leaders in the locker room? What happens in this situation?
I mean, I'll just take me personally. All right, say I'm still playing right now. I mean, I'm pissed. I'm pissed off. But you know what? I'm going to use that for motivation to go win our last game of the season. And let's finish this thing up 10-3 and leave no doubt. And let's go out and try, and whoever we play, let's kick their ass. Whether it's Illinois in the Citrus Bowl, whether it's Miami in the Gator Bowl, whatever. Let's go out and kick their ass and leave no doubt and prove that, yeah, y'all screwed up by leaving us out the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And like you said, Matt, with it really comes down to the leadership to figure out how to use that as motivation, not to let it be a deterrent or not to let it kind of bring everybody back to a bad place, and keep this team together. To the coaches, the leadership of the team, and to really use it as motivation to come out and prove, to show everybody, being wrong, and using this to build on next year as well. That's kind of what the bowl practices are all about. It hurts, and it's taking the time to process it and not let the real raw emotion get the best of you, and then figure out how to use it as motivation going forward, just like what Strick said.
Let me reintroduce something that we have dabbled in and out of throughout the week. John, you've yet to be a part of one of these, be a part of this conversation. Mike, you and I talked about it off the air there for a little while. We're talking about all of the things this year that are making up the field, and who should be in and who shouldn't be in, and looking at all of the information for each of these teams and comparing and contrasting. But I just think, and then all this stuff gets forgotten, right? We get to January, get to February, the sport moves on. There's other stuff going on, the portal, spring practice, blah, 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 blah. And then everybody forgets about it. And then all of a sudden the season's here again. I think college football is really screwed up. And I think that they can control some things that they're just choosing not to. And one of them, so nobody knows who's on the playoff committee, Strick. And Flint, you and I were talking about this the other night on the phone. I asked you, who's on the playoff committee? You didn't have a damn clue outside of Ward Manuel. Nobody knows. It's a problem. It's $1 billion sport, John. It's $1 billion sport. And the rest of the country doesn't know who's in the room picking the teams to be in the college football playoff, and they don't know why they're on the committee. Why is the girl on the committee from USA Today? Does she know the difference in a cover 2 and a cover 3? Does she know what an RPO is? She has any football sense at all. All right, that's one side of this coin. The other side is the officiating, because the fact of the matter is, we all talked about this after the LSU game, and people can call it sour grapes all they want to. The officials screwed the game up, and it blew it for South Carolina. If that didn't happen, and I know Lenoris's injury is as big of a component in this whole ordeal as anything. Absolutely 100%. That is certain, and that is true. But at the same time, if the officials didn't blow the freaking ball game, Carolina's 10-2 and they're in the playoff. They blew it. And why do we not have a system where you can we had this conversation yesterday with Mike. He didn't have an answer either. Nobody has an answer to this. It's not a hard question. Why can't you challenge the call on the field? Why can't you challenge the penalty? Why can't you challenge a non-penalty? Why not? What are we protecting? Does anybody care to, is there something I haven't heard that would make sense when the question is
the referee's feelings?
Yeah, I mean,
John, my point is this. Shane
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
The flag on Mazio. The flag on Mazio. We all knew that wasn't offensive pass interference. The whole world knew it. All right.
I mean, there was nothing happened there.
You throw the red flag at the yellow flag and say, I want y'all to look at that. And you know what? We got it wrong. The pass is complete to Dale Von Campbell. First down, Carolina. That's bullcrap what happened on that play. This is costing teams games, which is costing them money. And that's what the whole sport revolves around. But nobody has to answer for any of this. Well, he was suspended. Was he? I don't know. Who said that? What was the guy's name? How long was he suspended for? How much pay was he? Nobody knows anything. But in the NFL, if you give the cutthroat sign at somebody, well, John Smith over there, he's docked 6 games and $400,000. But these officials can blow a season for somebody, and nobody hears a damn thing about it. I don't understand any of it. That makes sense.
It's a joke. And you know what? I love Steve Shaw as an official. He was the head referee in so many games I played in, and he was always a great referee to work with out there on the field and talk to. I mean, I even saw him, a few years back over here. He was doing our spring game and talked to him for a little bit, and he's a great guy, and he's the one that's head of the officials, right, in the SEC. But Steve, I don't know. I wish they would change it up and actually they come out every week with these damn videos and none of them are ever from our conference, right? Has anybody ever noticed that? Has anybody watched any of them?
And
All of them are from other conferences. They never address anything or a bad call that happened in our conference play that the officials officiate. It's the weirdest thing ever.
And they never got it wrong.
Yeah.
All the videos.
They never get it wrong. They never get it wrong. So I just think there needs to be more transparency on that side with Steve. I mean, like I said, Steve's one of the best. He's one of the best officials of all time. But they need to make changes.
Well, JB, you said it perfectly. I don't know if it was with Mike yesterday or the day before, but you said there's enough money. Pay these guys and let them get it right. Put parameters around there. You're a full-time employee. You're here. You're employed year-round because guess what? When you're not calling a game, you're watching games and you're seeing what's happening. Like, do it the right way, and they just refuse to do it.
And that's the one thing. The landscape of college athletics, not just football, but college athletics in general, is changing, and it's changing rapidly.
Right.
And it's time for everything to evolve with it, and that includes officiating. There's a lot. I mean, like you said, the college is $1 billion industry. I mean, there's hundreds of millions of dollars floating around just with college football between programs and NIL and everything else, and it's just the landscape of the industry of college athletics is changing, and most importantly in football because of the revenue that it generates for these universities. And it's time to evolve all components of the game with it. And I think that it kind of starts with the officiating. I know trying to challenge calls and everything, you got to look at the pace of. There's a lot of things that go into it. It's a great point. How many challenges do you get a game? Is it just a certain amount and that's it? You drop it because you got pace of play. So you get 2 challenges and hey, you got to pick and choose which ones you think. And if you lose one, I agree. And I think that's something that needs to change. But the overall dynamic of I think just holistically of college athletics has changed, and it's time for everything to evolve with it.
Well, to JB's point, JB, really quick, I want to say this because I think it's right. But I've never left a stadium before feeling like, okay, like we got hosed. Like there was a fix in, there was something going on. This is asinine. And I felt that way leaving LSU. And the reason I felt that way because I saw what happened on the field. It was, BS to start with. But then I knew Greg Sankey was on the sidelines. And I knew that LSU was a big brand that just beat Southern Cal. And I truly, in my heart, felt there was a fix and this game was fixed from the beginning, because you can't have those many game-changing calls in one game. I mean, I've never seen that in my entire life. And like you said, JB, okay, Matt, you're sour grapes. But no, it was completely asinine at every level.
To combat some of this, I think these individuals, crews that make these calls, need to be held accountable publicly, just like any player or any coach is held accountable publicly.
The press conference.
Maybe if somebody throws a flag, maybe the guys will huddle up and be like, "Hey, what'd you see on this play? Did hey, did this really happen, or do we, and then maybe the flag's picked up, because we're all human. You make mistakes, right? But there's got to be some more to it, and it's hard to instant replay a penalty. But I think an officiating crew as a whole needs to come together more and make sure they're getting these calls right. I don't know. That game was such a joke. I mean, it was the biggest joke I've ever seen. The penalty on Kennard blocking Nussmeier, the rule says when you intercept a pass, everybody on the offense becomes a defender, and as long as your hands make contact with the person you're blocking to their chest, and no shoulder, forearm, head to them, it is completely legal. Well, they didn't even call it blindside. They called it damn, what was it?
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, it was a PI.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. What the hell? What?
Or not PI, but yeah, personal.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. And you know what? I watched so many angles of that play. There was not even a referee looking at it. All they see is Nussmeier acting job, laying on the ground, and Kennard like this, which you never throw your hands up because it makes you look guilty.
Yeah.
And then they just look over and see it, and all of them just start throwing flags. I mean, absolute joke.
Mike, I know you got to run. We'll give you the last word on this.
Yeah, it's just it's tough, man. It's tough to stomach. I know that game, it was a lot of flags thrown that game. And just like Matt said, it just seemed off. And, Kyle Kennard's had one hell of a year, and you hate to see what happened that game, and just kind of it sucks. It's kind of like it's a kick in the nuts, but you got to use it. You got to learn from it. You got to grow from it, get better. And, at the end of the day, it is what it is. And you just got to keep on going and figure out how you use it as a learning experience.
Well, they are definitely going to be in Florida somewhere in the postseason. So we'll certainly look forward to seeing what that looks like. We'll talk more about this with John on the other side. Mike, always good to have you, man. I know you got to run and get some work done, but we'll catch up a little bit later on, and we'll talk some more ball later on next week.
Sounds good, guys. Enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.
All right, plenty.
Hey, Mike.
See ya.
Yeah, just kidding. He doesn't have work. He's got to go get a perm. All right, we will slide to a quick timeout. But as we go to break, Patrick Davis, of course, releases Carolina When I Die today. It's out wherever you download your music. Download the latest album. It is
I downloaded
wonderful.
it this morning. As soon as I woke up.
It's an incredible album. He'll play a lot of that stuff tonight, a song he wrote a few years back. And if you listen to the whole thing, you'll understand its meaning. It is something special. Black Jesus will send us to break here on Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
He taught me the blues, and I sing for him, hold on, brother's tunes. And he say, boy, the only difference between us is your white and my black Jesus. When we meet again, there'll be nothing between us. It'll just be him, me, and Jesus.
'Twas the holiday season at Love Chevrolet, and more than just Santa needed a sleigh. Mom needs a Tahoe to taxi the team, but drives a Corvette in all of her dreams. For Dad, a new truck is just fine by him, like a rugged Silverado in the high country trim. Sister wants a Blazer in hot cherry red. For me, a new Trax, her young brother said. Grandma can't wait to open that box. She hopes it's a key to her new Chevy Equinox. For gifts such as these, on this very day, there's no greater place than Love Chevrolet. Find them in Harbison between Frankie's and Lowe's, or lovechevy.com, as everyone knows. For a deal like no other, stop by or just call. Merry Christmas from Love to one and to all. Together, let's drive.
When you bundle home and auto, good things can happen. You get a local agent who can help you choose the right coverage for you at a price that's right for you.
Call State Farm agent Tony Pope today.
Hey Gamecock Nation, my name is Kyle, longtime listener of the show and avid golfer. I wanted to take my game to the next level, but let's face it, golf is a hard game to learn on your own. I heard the ad from McKellar Enterprises and reached out to the owner and former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor. In just 2 months of working with Meredith, I shot my lowest round ever, and I've never felt more confident in my golf game. So if you're looking to take your game to the next level, go to McKellarEnterprises.org and book your lesson today with former Gamecock golfer Meredith Taylor. Go Gamecocks.
The Aventon Adventure 2 takes the same basic design as the original Aventon Adventure, making it an adventure bike designed to take you places that typical roads just don't reach, allowing you to ride whatever terrain you want based on your whims of the day. Look at what you're getting. Hydraulic disc brakes, torque sensor for responsive pedal assist, great LED lighting, suspension, a beautifully welded frame with excellent build quality, included rear rack, included fenders. The list just keeps going on.
Visit electricbikescharleston.com for more.
When you bundle home and auto, good things can happen. You get a local agent who can help you choose the right coverage for you at a price that's right for you.
Call State Farm agent Tony Pope today.
Nana's Porch presents a Southern staple delivered right to your doorstep. Nana's Porch locally crafted pimento cheese has been a hit for years at weddings, tailgates, and other events. Now you can order online and have it sent to your home. Visit nanasporch.com. That's nanasporch.com and click the pimento cheese tab to choose between their original pimento cheese and their jalapeno smoked pimento cheese set. nanasporch.com, man, that's good.
Morning, Carl. Usual?
Yeah.
Your oldest was in here the other day. Said the two of you took a trip down to my neck of the woods. How'd that go?
You might as well give me one of those Carolina cards while you're at it.
I knew I liked that one.
Yeah.
There you go, my friend.
Thanks.
Hey, Carl. Congratulations.
See you tomorrow, Freddie.
You bet.
Charleston Fitness Equipment is keeping South Carolina in shape. Clients have come from all over the Palmetto State to find that one piece of equipment that they enjoy that keeps them looking and feeling good. Whether it's a home rower, treadmill, elliptical, free weights, a home gym, or something else, Charleston Fitness Equipment keeps the mirror smiling back at you. Get in shape like the Gamecocks do. Visit charlestonfitnessequipment.com. Gamecock owned and operated and proud partners of Inside the Gamecocks, the show.
Fans, Club Chief has arrived. Become a Big Chief Club member or a Big Chief Club Golden Gear member for exclusive access to our Nana's Porch chat box on Inside the Gamecocks, the show. Plus, you'll get access to our VIP tailgates, prize drawings, merch, and much more. A portion of your monthly membership goes to the Garnet Trust, supporting NIL at the University of South Carolina. Pull up your Chief Sports app and join on the home page. Thank you so much for being a member of Club Chief, and and we look forward to meeting many of you very soon.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
It's right around the corner. It's the holiday season. Santa's coming, if you didn't hear. Welcome back inside the Gamecocks. The show brought to you by the South Carolina Education Lottery and our friends at Palm Casual, palmcasual.com. Don't get a splinter in your ass. Get some new stuff. Put the good stuff on your back porch. Sit down, watch a ball game, have a bourbon with Big John. He'll bring it over. You don't have to go to the store. Look, just look. Look at the screen. Look behind him. Tell him what you want. You have the nice furniture. John brings the bourbon. Everybody has a good time. Palmcasual.com. 4 locations in South Carolina, for Bluffton to the north side of the Dirty Myrtle and inland on the other side of Somerville towards I-95. So look, we're getting into, we're obviously the portal opens, I think Monday. Yeah, Monday. John and we just got through the signing class. We're also in retention season. We talked to Darren Uscher about this earlier, keeping the guys on your roster. We're also in awards season, and I'm not so sure I can remember the immediate, the immediate postseason, like the few days since the regular season ended. It's been a long time around here since Carolina football has just started rattling off awards and all kinds of stuff. I mean, today we got more stuff from On 3. Both Dylan Stewart and Josiah Thompson selected on the True Freshman All-America team. Dylan Stewart selected as the National Defensive True Freshman of the Year. We're about to see the NFL draft throw a bunch of guys into it with Carolina logos. I mean, John, this is going to be – we still have a bowl game to play, and hopefully there's not any opt-outs for that. It seems it'll be minimal. But this is going to be the most positive offseason for the University of South Carolina's football program in not even just recent memory. Like, I know all those years where they were going 11-2, 11-2, 11-2, 11-2. I get that. But back then you didn't have all this stuff that happens in the postseason. You just had your team, and then you moved to the next year, and you had your signing class. Now you got all this portal stuff. They're calling Carolina left and right. I mean, how much momentum and how high could the expectations get for Shane Beamer's program going into his fifth season?
Well, I think if you can close this thing out and finish 10-3, I think going into next year, you're a top 10, top 15 team preseason, just because of who you have at quarterback alone. And I think you're going to be able to go out and get some good portal guys. And, you know, I got a few right off the top of my head I can think that's already announced that I know for a fact we've already reached out to. You got to go get some veteran, good defensive tackles. You're going to have to grab a linebacker or two. You're going to need to get 1 or 2 older O-linemen. Now, this is no knock on the talent we have at the O-line position, but it's a lot of young guys, right? It's a lot of youth there. So you need some older heads in that group to be competing for playing time for a starting job. So I think you're going to see that. I think we already have one lined up coming in for a visit. You know, you need 1 or 2 older wide receivers out of the portal. I mean, there's 2 right now in my head. One of them was almost picked South Carolina but stayed home, and I think y'all probably all know who I'm talking about. That would be Dane Key. That guy's a game changer. He's just got to get somebody to throw him the ball, and Kentucky just couldn't do it this past year.
Or last year.
Yeah, and the wide receiver at NC State. That would be the two guys I'm targeting right now to come in and fill a spot at wide receiver. So I think those are some of the moves you got to make in the portal. And you know what? I guarantee you all those guys have us at the top of the list after they've been able to see what they saw this past season with what Shane Beamer and this coaching staff has been able to do. Especially if I'm a defensive guy, I'm like, man, I would have come play in that defense. Yeah. I mean, it's such an attractive place right now.
Hey, John, real quick, back in your day when you were playing, you probably didn't have a ton of transfers year over year, but you had some transfers that came in, and obviously they're the new guy as long as they're not the new guy anymore, and they got to earn their stripes. How do you see that changing in this landscape? And I think that's why Shane always talks about getting the character, figuring out the background, and I'm sure there's open communications with players on the team. Hey, we're bringing this guy in, blah, blah, blah. But do you see that being an issue like it has been at other schools around the country, like Florida State last year, where you bring in some kids and you go 2-9, even though you get the best portal class in the country? How do you think that impacts a team in this day and age?
I mean, obviously you're looking for guys who are like-minded like your team is. So that's why all these coaches are going to do their background checks on every single one of these players. They're going to call everybody that knows these players. They're going to call all the coaches that's coached them, and they're going to find out about them. But, man, I honestly, if I was on a team and, hey, man, let's go out, get some game changers that's going to help us win. I mean, I'm all for it as long as they gel with the team. And, a transfer portal guy coming in is no different than a high school kid coming in. It's the same thing, come in, they're new, but, all that goes away within just a matter of weeks because you're jumping right into it. You got winter workouts right around the corner already. And those winter workouts literally is what meshes a team together. Doing all those early morning workouts together, and it's a team builder, and it means a lot. So I don't know. That's kind of the way I feel on it with new guys coming in and the transfer portal. I mean, obviously it sucks when you have guys leave, but tell you what, I don't think we're going to have many contributors like we did last year leaving South Carolina this year.
No, I don't think so. For two reasons. One, they're winning, and two, South Carolina's got some money. And I know that they're working hard to get some more money, and they're going to get it. And they're in a good spot. I mean, I know JC understands that, and probably there's only so much you can really say, or anybody can really say, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast with where we are right now. And Carolina's worked their tails off for a few years to get there. We talked to Darren about some of this earlier, John, and the fact that it's such a balancing act to sign the high school kids, to keep them in the boat from that last minute offer coming in and, taking the rug out from underneath you, re-recruiting your roster. He mentioned that they started re-recruiting this roster during the bye week, starting to go ahead and make plans for the future. Probably some of these kids who are in the portal right now, they knew maybe 4 or 5 weeks ago they were going to enter the portal. And then, of course, having to monitor the portal. And South Carolina seems to have a system now that works for them. And I think as pointed as anything is everything you just said, plus the fact that they just flipped a bunch of dudes on signing day. And Shane Beamer, this is his background, right? He's a recruiter. He knows what this thing's supposed to look like. He's finally got the team in place that he wants to execute the plan.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard today. I mean, it's so hard. Coaches' jobs have just gotten so much more, so much harder than just coaching football and signing high school kids. It's a different world. But yes, we do have the money. I donate every single month, the Garnet Trust, to make sure I'm doing my part and everybody else needs to do their part too. You see how close we were? I think this team, if we get in, we make a lot of noise, and who knows, you could have won it, but we didn't get in. So now we need to if you want to win, if you want championships, there's a price to pay. And sometimes that price is out of your own wallet. And I have no problem doing it, and I hope everybody else gets on board with it. But yes, our NIL right now is in the best spot it's been in, and JC knows more than I do on it, but we're in a good spot.
Revenue sharing's coming too, and that's gonna change things. This whole thing's going about a threat. But keep in mind, in all the genius of the NCAA, they decided that the fiscal year is when we'll start it. So there's a whole crop. I mean, most players come in from the portal in high school early now. There's a whole crop of guys you got to take care of between now and then. But the numbers will work out. From the chat box, 2 things from Cam. Dowell Loggins apparently interviewed for the App State job. Don't know that he's getting it. Whatever. App State's a great job. If he can get the App State job, great. I don't want him to leave. I think the people that are continuing to talk about what a terrible coordinator he is don't know anything about football. Because
those people don't know anything about football.
Well,
Jared Curtis.
Look, I'll admit you. Number one, the only person whose opinion matters is about Dowell is Lenore Sellers right now.
Yep.
And Jared Curtis. And number two, I don't think anybody realizes that. It probably was the scheme starting out. He probably did struggle a little bit. Making reads and trying to kind of run a pro offense. There's a lot that goes into it too, receivers and offensive line not included. But look how fast he picked it up. It's not like it was a season, people. And honest to God, had he not gotten hurt against LSU and missed the Akron game, which is kind of a get-right game, I don't know that he'd had any problem. I think
he might be in New York right now, JC.
Yeah, we'd see this
happens.
different. I mean, you have to recognize that, okay? So that's number one. Nobody in the chat box said anything about Dowell. Number
funny
two,
how that's all changed.
Number two,
God.
we
Get back to
asked
September.
Darren, yeah, well, hey, look, I had a lot of questions. I was like, are we putting a square peg in a round hole?
I did too, but I think this also goes to
understand-
show. Let's not start throwing rocks in the ocean in September. Let's let the friggin' season play itself out, like John said.
Yeah, what I didn't understand was, where my ignorance was in all this is because I'm not at practice, and you get worried sometimes. And I think we all got PTSD from Satterfield. About Satterfield was like, it'll take him 3 years to learn this offense. I'm like, you ain't got 3 years, brother. You got Spencer Rattler. I mean, you got and I think we misinterpreted that. And it was just a matter of a few quarters or games getting his feet wet when Dowell kept saying he's getting there. And I'll tell you this, as far as his NFL future goes, it's so hard watching Caleb Williams and Anthony freaking Richardson and guys like that are in kind of college offenses. They had to adjust things. Andy Reid had to adjust for Patrick Mahomes. Lenore Sellers is going to go in there having run an NFL-style offense. They're not going to have – look at Spencer, and what he learned in 1 year under this guy. I'm not saying he's a world beater. I'm not saying he's the greatest play caller in the world. I think he dials up beautiful pass plays. I want to see what he can do with a better line and receivers and stuff. But let's just give him a break and not think it may be – this would not be a blessing in disguise if he left, and I don't think he will.
Not at all.
Number two, Cam mentioned this, and I'm not picking on you, Cam, about Jaheim Otis, the big D tackle from Bama that got in the portal, and he's going to Ole Miss. She said it's already killing my portal wish list. I don't think South Carolina would go even talk to that guy. Yes, he was a top 40 recruit. He gets to Bama. He's 20 pounds overweight. He plays some for Saban. Then the new coach comes in and does absolutely nothing. His playing time decreases, and that's why he transferred. Now he's going to Ole Miss. The more guys like that you sign, the more you lose to Kentucky at home.
Yep.
With a talented team. And I'm just going to – I'm going to stress that over and over. There's a formula. South Carolina's one of the best teams in the SEC this year. That means they're one of the best teams in the country. Please, people, don't think that all these former 5-stars are going to come now that Carolina's won 9 games, or that they're going to, because they're not going to want them.
And I'll add to that. Don't get all like wide-eyed and starry-eyed because out of high school they were a 5-star. That don't mean jack crap. If you ain't performing at the next level, there's a reason he's not playing at Alabama. Okay, so there's a reason he's in the transfer portal. So don't see, oh, the former 5-star such and such is in the transfer portal. Well, there's a reason he's in the transfer portal. Just remember that.
Yeah, I'm always a little leery about the big names coming out of the big programs, right? There's something behind the scenes that you don't know. Don't go star shopping.
And a guy like Rocket, Carolina was second for him out of high school. They knew him. Stepp and Dowell knew him. I'm not picking on you, Cam, at all, buddy. I'm not. Please. I just it's okay.
I'll pick on Cam. Let's do it. What do we need to say?
It's not Cam. It's everybody else that I hear, because they'll end up not having a portal class probably ranked in the top 11 or 12, and everybody will be hyping up everybody else, just like this year, just like Florida State. And I'm telling you, from what I'm seeing so far, we got about 3 or 4 years of this in. It ain't the schools that get ranked high in the portal, unless you're like Colorado. Colorado took 36 guys the first year and a lot of really good players. Half of them have transferred. Deion got a lesser hyped class, and
they went 4-8. And
they went 4-8. Deion got kind of and Ole Miss lost to Kentucky at home. I mean, great team, good. When they wanted to play, they could play, but when you have that's culture. That's why culture is now more important than it's ever been, because you hold their you got to hold a bunch of people that can be mercenaries if they want to together. And I want to add this too, because I'm not talking about the overachieving, 5'6", 220-pound offensive guard that pulls, that's all state, the guy that's never.
I don't want him.
Those guys. I mean, Demetrius Knight's an NFL player talent-wise. Kyle Kennard is an NFL player talent-wise. They just didn't have the hype, and the draft tells you that when you look at it. But I just wanted to let everybody know. Yeah, Otis had 1 tackle in 2024. He's just he needs to get on treadmill a little bit, like me. But he regressed, and he didn't get with the program. He's part of the reason Bama's defense is bad, because guys like him that think they're entitled. There's a school in the SEC right now that's really good that may lose 31 guys in the transfer portal this year. 31.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago, everybody's talking. Recently, everybody was scared to death of them, talking about how unbeatable they are, and they're still good.
Yeah.
But there's a
Georgia.
list of 4
It's
and
got to
5
be
stars.
Georgia. I'm just guessing here. It's got to be
Texas.
Georgia. Yeah.
So I just
every guy that go John, let's start a new. Every time a Georgia player goes in the portal, we got to get that guy.
Why don't we
want all 31 of them?
Let's just take a shot.
I think
We'd
we
be
should
drunk.
transform our logo and make it look like Georgia's.
I'm so dumb about bourbon. I finally figured out what Pappy was.
What? We're talking about Georgia's players. What are you talking about?
But I was talking about taking a shot every time a player for their portal, and I said we get drunk.
Don't do that with Pappy,
No.
JC.
Pappy's
You have
not
to
a
savor.
That's a sipper. That's a sipper.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, because Mike Morgan went on his annual bourbon trace tour with his wife in Kentucky.
I
and
saw
had some
that,
pictures,
yep.
and I saw the picture of Pappy. I'm like, oh, that's what that is.
Yeah.
Y'all need to teach me better. You two, you and you, JB.
Yeah, you can't drink Pappy like you drink your Miller Lights, JC. You want this?
I can't drink Pappy. I can drink liquor, period. Because I drink it because it's the problem. I drink it like I drink my Miller Lights. So, you guys think I'm a crier now?
Yeah. Well,
I'm just teasing. I didn't mean to get off track, but yeah. So I just encourage everybody to understand this is a proven plan this staff does, and I'm not expecting anybody to cut cartwheels, but just please, and it's not our listeners, although we have thousands of them. Just please, I don't want to hear this year when they get a kid out of the portal that you've never heard of. Oh, I'm underwhelmed. I'm a little disappointed. Let's just not go there this time, please. You'll save me.
I'm disappointed. I'm
Demetrius Knight, perfect example from Charlotte.
Oh, I remember when he committed. People were we just took a linebacker from Charlotte, and I'm like, yeah, have you seen the tape? If you haven't, maybe check it out.
The guy play.
Yeah.
The one guy that they didn't complain about was Torricelli Simpkins after a couple, because I think I basically just told everybody on Big Spur to shut the hell up.
Yeah,
I think Alex Plus is shut the hell up.
Well, I remember before he committed, John straight up told me, he said, I talked to Cedric, and Cedric said, this kid not only will go to Carolina, he's going to start. And you were right.
Darren called him one of the best players on the entire team.
Oh, 100%. He's going to be playing on Sundays, man. He mauls people out there. I love watching him play. Watching him play.
He's a great person too. Like a good kid, like a really good kid.
He's got an NFL name.
Torricelli Simpkins.
Yeah.
It'd be fun if Madden was on,
Like I would just call him Pasta because it sounds like pasta. Torricelli does.
Torricelli.
I
wanted the Torricelli bologna.
Pasta Simpkins with the 15-yard penalty.
Josh Simon was like, he's out there trying to kill somebody. That was every play.
Hey,
he's just out
when
there
he shoved that kid out of bounds, I was like, man, he is on a mission today.
Dude, he's physical. He's very physical. They can't play the game if you're not physical.
Well, he was also one of the first people to defend Lenore Sellers too. I mean, that's where he got a penalty. Like he was defending his quarterback, and John, you know better than me. Like you do that.
Yeah, you know what's weird at the game? I had a younger Carolina fan sitting behind me, probably in his lower 20s. He was yelling at Simpkins, even though Simpkins can't hear him, but he was yelling at Simpkins about the 50-yard penalty. He's like, kick him off the team, get him out of there. He's been getting his ass kicked all game. I was like, are you watching the same game I'm watching? I was like, what?
And kick him off the team. I always love that one. Kick his ass off the team.
Right now, if that was Josiah Thompson that did it because he has a 5-star by his name, he'd be all celebrating Josiah Thompson. It's because he came from a smaller school, and that's how a lot of fans are.
This guy behind me didn't know football from a hamburger, so
a lot of them don't.
Hey, so here's another Carolina's going to need tight end in the portal.
Yeah.
Very good one, Luke Haas from Bixby, Oklahoma. Was recruited by Dowell Loggins to Arkansas. He is in the portal.
Can't sign him. Last tight end from Arkansas was a major disappointment. Can't do that. PTSD. Move on to the next guy.
Trey Knox.
We need another Josh Simon, who everybody said last year wasn't good.
Dude, I'll take every tight end with a German last name that you can send me.
Sleeper pick. Remember, we all made sleeper picks at the beginning of the season, and that nobody was talking about. And mine was Josh Simon, and he led the team in receiving. I mean, come on. And then what did I say? Did I say the defense is going to have to carry us early until the offense gets going? I mean, hey, dude.
I said I'm with you. I said the same thing, but you got credit for it. I didn't.
JB says it every day and reminds us. So I think mine was Vandrevius Jacobs. I started well.
He got banged up, man. He got
everything else. I start well and then fade. So
well, he got injured, JC. So we'll give you a mulligan on that one.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
My defensive guy was OD. That was right.
Wow, we knew it. OD. Boom. He wasn't a sleeper though.
Yeah,
not to us, he wasn't. But there was a lot of people who didn't. They didn't really know anything about it.
You watched the last half of the season last year. You should know OD was going to ball out if he kept going like he did last year. So there's no surprise there.
I'll say this too. We have Mike Morgan on this show all the time, and he goes around the SEC. He's seen a lot of spring. He knows it, and so we're all sitting there talking SEC. And Jamie Bradford brings up, just got a funny feeling about Kentucky this year. And Mike agreed, but didn't really. He's like, well, what about their elite defense and all that? And their defense was elite till they quit.
Yeah.
But I got to give Jamie credit for sniffing that out in July.
Well, they were
just June. There was something wrong. There's just something wrong there up there with Stoops and those guys. And boom, boy, the bottom fell out quick. And then after the season, it fell out even quicker.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so fragile. You're replacing your quarterback and your OC every single year. You're going to the portal trying to save you at your most important positions. He hasn't been winning a bunch over the last few years. The last time they did win 10 games, they got them all taken away because they were investigated. It's just a fragile place. I mean, and he's still there. So that's off. I don't
know. He's losing his two best receivers off his football team, and
I still think something's going to happen up there, John. I think they're working in the dark of the night to get rid of him.
Probably, maybe not. I don't know. I know that place is in shambles right now, and Dane Key, man, Beamer has such a good relationship with Dane Key's mother, and he was second on our list. And I don't know. I'm assuming we're going to be recruiting him out of the portal, but I think that would be a big pickup for Lenore Sellers to have that guy out on the edge.
Dane Key, you mentioned Concepcion from NC State, and the CJ Daniels kid that came from Liberty to LSU last year. He's good. He 43 passes at LSU.
Yeah.
LSU just had Kyron Lacey in those cats. So if you can get one or two of those three, maybe even the big outside kid from East Carolina would come to, or I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Please, folks, don't go post that as the list of targets. There's going to be a bunch.
Actually, go post that, please.
Yeah,
please.
JC said it. JC said
it. Dane, if Dane Key played football at Augusta, Georgia in high school, he would be at South Carolina right now.
Yeah.
It was just at home. I mean, and we can't blame anybody for staying
No,
home, but
hell no.
It's a mess up there. And, Kentucky fans are going to take a big blue dump on somebody's face. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Blue is different. I mean, but when John Summerall at Tulane, who they think is going to come save their program, takes the North Carolina job.
Yeah.
Because North Carolina may not be able to pay. North Carolina can pay what they want. North Carolina's a better football job than Kentucky because you're in the what? The ACC. And if SMU can do it,
yeah, right.
North Carolina can do it.
Yeah, I just think, you look at somebody like Dane Key, this young receiver room, and then all these talented receivers we're bringing in from high school. You stick an old guy like Dane Key in there who's a very good receiver. Like Dane Key's an NFL receiver after his next football season, wherever he's at. But if you can bring a guy in like that to kind of mentor these young guys and come out and I promise you Lenore's would love to have him as well. So
would you take if I don't know what their relationship's like because Berrien's from Tennessee, from Nashville. Would you take Barry and Brown too if they were a package deal? Let you be the GM if the
gotta look at the money there.
Yeah, I mean, if it was a package deal, it's guaranteed. Yeah, I'd take it. I think Dane Key's he's a difference maker. Kentucky just did not use him in the way they should be using him, and Dane Key has shown it when the ball is thrown his way. But Kentucky, they just don't have it.
I think Berrien's really good too. He's a return game guy that could help there, and
we're gonna need somebody to replace Juju. I mean, Juju had sure hands back there. We're gonna need somebody to
kind of a bridge guy. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out. It's past time to go though.
Yeah,
I've got to. My phone's been blowing up all freaking day.
John, any parting shots, bud, before we let you get out of here?
Well, headed to Darius tonight. Be down on the floor, kind of front and center, and looking forward to watching some football all day tomorrow. And can't wait to find out where we're going bowling on Sunday, and then we'll see where it goes next week. I will be out of town next week, so going deer hunting out in Texas. But
sweet.
Well, that's all right. We can count on Flint to be here.
Oh yeah, we won't be. We got bowl selection Sunday. I'll tell everybody. I'd be very, very surprised if it weren't the Citrus Bowl. If it's not the Citrus Bowl, I don't know.
Here's what I think happened.
Maybe Jacksonville or Nashville.
This is what I've already heard rumblings from inside of people who know this stuff and what some of the committee members of bowls they've already talked to. If Alabama gets into the playoffs, we are basically a lock for the Citrus Bowl because they want us more than they want Ole Miss. So we're a lock to go to that. Here's the kicker. Clemson beats SMU in a close game and SMU stays in, which, in my opinion, God, it's something else. I hate to keep holding this up, but I just got a couple more things.
You're good.
This just made me think of something.
It's fine.
SMU should be in if they lose, unless they just get their ass kicked by Clemson, which could happen because I do think Clemson is going to win the game, unfortunately. So if Alabama falls out, I think the Citrus Bowl takes Bama. The Outback Bowl, ReliaQuest, will probably take Florida because it's right there. They know they'll get all those Florida fans, and we'll be in the Gator Bowl versus Miami, which would be a super fun game too. So, but my last point.
That's right.
Alabama ranked over Miami, but Ole Miss and South Carolina not. Make that make sense for me, because I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Our strength of schedule is higher than Alabama's. So you got to take those two in consideration when you're looking at a resume with Miami versus South Carolina's resume. South Carolina's is just as good or better than Alabama's, but somehow Alabama's above Miami, and then you got Ole Miss and South Carolina below it.
The Miami thing's the dumbest damn thing. Big old
So
Ward. Old Ward said, "Best offense in the country." I'm like, against who?
Yeah.
Cam Ward was like, we played better defenses in the SEC. You didn't even play the best defense in the ACC.
I saw he said that.
I respect.
And I'm not I'm
He's
not
just doing his
defending
team.
Miami. I'm talking about how the committee put it in that order. Makes zero sense. Like, if you're going to put Miami over Ole Miss and South Carolina, then guess what? Miami should be over Alabama. If you're looking at, So I don't know. It's the Alabama brand, though, man.
I wonder. So, all right. So SMU doesn't make the playoff. South Carolina's in the citrus. If they do make the playoff, though, along with Clemson, there's two ACC. Miami to the Gator Bowl. Would Miami go to the Gator Bowl, or would the Pop-Tarts Bowl take them? Who's the other ACC team that's pretty good? Georgia Tech?
Now, see,
Louisville?
I thought the top ACC team not in the playoff Gator Bowl gets first selection, right?
Of the ACC?
Yeah,
maybe I think it's the Pop-Tarts thing, the other Orlando Bowl. I don't know. I had to look that up.
Yeah,
Interesting. Hey, look. Hey, I'll take Miami in the Gator Bowl tomorrow.
I'll take anybody. I'll take
my buddy
anybody.
loves Illinois. My buddy's an Illinois fan, so it would save me some. I mean, we now have back-to-back Carolina Bowl games against Notre Dame and Illinois, and that would suck for me. But in some ways. But anyway, so okay, that'll be cool. Bowl selection, but I think they're probably going to Citrus, which is good. This is the biggest bowl you can go to outside of making the playoffs. So.
I think we're going to Citrus, but that's only if SMU and Clemson don't both get in. Then you're dropping to the Gator. I mean, that's
you're going to the Gator Bowl.
Yeah,
which are both easy trips for Carolina fans. Well, not really, because
I like the Gator Bowl better. It's a lot closer, but the Citrus Bowl would be fun. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to make that one, but I'll probably be able to make the Gator Bowl. So,
yeah, we'll find out on Sunday. That's for sure. John, always a pleasure, my man.
All right.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Y'all later.
See y'all later.
Boys.
Thanks to I don't even remember who else was on the show today, but definitely thanks to Michael Flint, Darren Uscher, Rafael Esparza, and Coach Stuart Lake. Have a wonderful, wonderful weekend doing your Christmas shopping, watching the championship games. Find out where Carolina's headed. We'll talk about it Monday here on ITG.
See everybody.
It's all about the money. It ain't about making it big. This ain't the Grand Ole Opry, no. It's just a cover gig. Sweet home Alabama and Last Dance with Mary Jane. From the up-and-comers to the old road runners, still trying to light the flame. You might find a shortcut, but the road always begins with a cheap guitar, a smoky bar, a dream, and a cover gig.